Chapter 34-35. Second update. Asking for votes. Don't worry, big bro. I know you've been brooding over this. You've lost face. And that means I, Kong Ming Ming, have lost face as well. I'll definitely get rid of Lin Yi for you. Kong Ming Ming said with a pat on his chest. Now you can go get that bitch Xinyan and wait for my good news. Ugh. Forget it. I'll wait for Lin Yi to die first. Zhao Long didn't dare do that. After all, everything would be fine if Lin Yi died, but what if he didn't? Then he'd capture Xinyan first. And if Kong Ming Ming couldn't handle it, then he'd be in big trouble. Lin Yi wouldn't kill him, or at least cripple him. Even if he didn't do anything to Xinyan and only captured her, he wouldn't be able to recover. All right then, just wait for my good news. Kong Ming Ming could see that his big brother was a coward, but he didn't say anything. After all, he and Zhao Long were just the pot calling the kettle black. If it weren't for these masters backing him up, he really wouldn't dare go after Lin Yi alone. It'd be too dangerous. That night, House Kang's mansion was decorated with lanterns and streamers to celebrate Kong Ming Ming's return. It lasted until 1 a.m. before everyone went to sleep. If it weren't for the fact that Kong Ming Ming had to go to Yanjing to investigate, they'd probably stay up all night. After all, Kong Ming Ming was just too strong. He had 4 sky-class masters with him, peak late phase peak. Even an ancient noble house couldn't compare. The next morning, Kong Ming Ming brought the 3 masters from House Zhao and Xiao to Yanjing. Kong Xiaoming didn't go find trouble with House Song directly. Instead, he stayed nearby and slowly observed. He wanted to see if the members of the Bubble Li clan were nearby. He had been to the Bubble Li clan before, so he was quite familiar with the appearance of the people of the Bubble Li clan. He could tell the difference at a glance, so if these people were nearby, they wouldn't be able to escape from Kong Ming Ming's eyes. Junior Brother Kong, there haven't been any outsiders coming to the Song family these past few days. After 2 days of surveillance, there were no outsiders in the Song family. Only a few disciples of the Song family came and went, obviously to buy things. Little Waiter asked doubtfully. Kong Ming Ming nodded and said, "Yes, I don't think so. Even if they come to the Song family, it's impossible for them to not go out. It's not interesting for them to stay at home. If they don't walk around, I'm afraid they will go back." "What should we do next?" Little Fool asked. "Let's wait for a while. Let's make sure there's no one else in the Song family." Kong Ming Ming was arrogant this time, but he was still very careful. All right, there's no harm in being careful. Little Fool agreed with Kong Ming Ming's point of view. That afternoon, Kong Ming Ming saw Lin Yi and Ling Shan leave the Song family together. It was like he had discovered a new continent. Lin Yi is in the Song family. Kong Ming Ming was overjoyed. If the Bubble Li clan is in the Song family, then there's no way Lin Yi didn't bring them out. It seems like the Bubble Li clan isn't in the Song family anymore. I'll go test Lin Yi. Ah, Junior Brother Kong, you want to go yourself? Little Fool was shocked. There won't be any danger, right? Of course not. I'll just pretend to meet him and ask him a few questions. He can't do anything to me. Kong Ming Ming said, "I know Lin Yi. He won't go against the 5-element school. Besides, he needs me to concoct pills for him. All right, be careful then." Little Fool saw that Kong Ming Ming had made up his mind. He didn't say anything else. In actuality, Lin Yi was going shopping with Ling Shan today. Ling Shan wanted Lin Yi to go out with her. After all, Lin Yi couldn't stay in the Song family forever. Lin Yi had to go back. Yushu was about to go to Flaming Mountain, and Lin Yi promised to send her there. So Lin Yi had to go back as well. Ling Shan, on the other hand, wanted to find the feeling of love. Her relationship with Lin Yi was a bit of a bumpy one. She chased him a lot, and although Lin Yi accepted her, she always felt that her relationship with Lin Yi was far worse than Meng Yao, Yushu, Xinyan, Tang Yin, and Xiao Xiao. She wasn't even as good as Sun Jingyi. So Ling Shan wanted to improve her relationship with Lin Yi. It was rare for Ling Shan to make a request like this, and naturally Lin Yi agreed. In fact, Ling Shan wasn't the type of girl who liked shopping. She came out this time just for the feeling. In other words, she didn't care what she bought, but who she went shopping with. The two walked aimlessly on the street. There was a dazzling array of goods, but Ling Shan didn't pay much attention to it. She just walked with Lin Yi, talking about the interesting things that happened when they first met in Songshan. It was only a year, but it felt like a long time. The two couldn't help but sigh when they talked about it. As they walked, a person came towards them. Lin Yi paused, and so did Ling Shan. They hadn't seen this person for a long time. Isn't this Lin Yi, boss? What a coincidence. What are you doing here? Kong Xiaoming was surprised to see Lin Yi and ran over to greet him. Kong Mingming, aren't you at the Sky Elixir School and Five Element School? What are you doing here? Lin Yi didn't know why Kong Mingming was here, but this guy was always up to no good no matter where he went. Oh, I'm just going home to act cool. And then I came to Yanjing to look for some connections and do some business. Kong Xiaoming shrugged. I'm a member of the Five Elements sect and Sky Elixir sect now. I'm so powerful, but my family isn't doing so well. The elixir business has been affected by your cauldron, so I can't do it anymore. I have a lot of stock. I can only contact the auction house and sell those elixirs to the common world. Oh, is that so? Lin Yi listened to Kong Mingming's words, and it seemed to be the case. But this guy didn't seem like someone who would tell the truth, no matter how he looked at it. But this didn't have much to do with Lin Yi, and so Lin Yi only said, Where are my pills? When are you giving them to me? I'm already Sky Class mid-phase peak, and if you don't give them to me, I'll be at max level soon. There's no use for them, even if I eat them. You can only admire them yourself. Ugh, you leveled up again. Kong Mingming paused. He didn't expect Lin Yi to have leveled up again. He was now a Sky Class mid-phase peak. Stop the bullshit. When are you giving me the pills? Lin Yi asked. Chapter 34-36. The first update, asking for votes. Forget it, I still have things to do. You can go by yourself. Lin Yi waved his hand. Hey, by the way, can you take me to see the people from the Bubbly clan? Kong Mingming suddenly said, Bubble Leaf clan? What are you going to do? Lin Yi was stunned. He didn't understand what Kong Mingming was talking about. Oh, it's like this. Little First's body is gone. I want to find it. I think only the Bubbly clan knows about this. I want to ask, didn't they come here a while ago? Kong Mingming asked. You're here. Lin Yi frowned and asked calmly. Yes. I heard that they came to the Song family to help drive away some foreign masters. Kong Mingming said. Oh. Lin Yi's mind raced as he tried to figure out what Kong Xiaoming meant. How did Kong Mingming know that someone from the Song family was here to cause trouble? Moreover, it was an external expert? What did he mean by inquiring about the Bubbly clan? Could it be that he has some relationship with those foreign experts? Or perhaps he thinks that I invited the Bubbly clan to kill those experts from the outside world? Thinking about it, this was the only possibility. Oh, did you see them? Kong Mingming asked anxiously. He didn't know what Lin Yi meant by, oh. What does that have to do with you? Lin Yi asked. Didn't I say it already? I want to find little one's corpse. I suspect they've hidden it, Kong Mingming said with a bitter face. After all, I was the one who lost the corpse. Father-in-law Xianqin asked me to do it. Is a corpse that important? Lin Yi was puzzled. It's not important, but we have to figure out where the corpse went. Kong Mingming said, Great God Lin Yi, your master, is Ancestor Profound Heaven, so I won't hide it from you. Do you know that the disciples of the Five Elements sect have soul jade plates? I've heard of it, but I don't really know, Lin Yi said. It's like this. If a disciple of the Five Elements school dies outside, his soul jade plate will also shatter accordingly. However, little Yi's jade plate is only cracked, but not broken. Moreover, his corpse is gone, so we are not sure whether he is dead or alive. Therefore, I have to find out the truth." Kong Ming Ming explained. Lin Yi's heart turned cold. "So, Ancestor Xianqin has already seen the problem?" Little One had been transformed into a puppet doppelganger, so it was either dead or alive. No wonder the soul jade tablet was only cracked and didn't shatter. "Then you can go to the Hakanamada Desert. They have already gone back." Lin Yi said, "Although I have a friendship with them, they can't accompany me all the time, right? I still have my own things to do." "I see." Kong Ming Ming's face was a little disappointed, but he was happy in his heart. "Then forget it. It's too far away. I can't afford to go there again. By the way, do you live in the secular Song family?" "Yes, what's the problem?" Lin Yi nodded. "Nothing. Is there anyone else? Can I live there?" Kong Ming Ming asked. "There's also Ling Shan's sister, Ling Rui, and her second grandfather. We're all annoyed that you can't live there." Lin Yi told the truth. Since Kong Ming Ming knew that there were foreign masters looking for trouble with the Song family, how could he not know about Song Ling Rui and Song Xianghua? "Then forget it. I'll be leaving first." Kong Ming Ming nodded and waved at Lin Yi. "Don't forget my pill." Lin Yi reminded. If he had another Qi gathering pill now, then Lin Yi would be able to break through to Sky Class Late Phase. "I won't. I'll give it to you next time." With that, Kong Ming Ming left. After Kong Ming Ming left, Ling Shan said, "Lin Yi, I feel like there's something wrong with this Kong Ming Ming. My professional instincts tell me that he's hiding something. I can see that. But who knows what he's thinking? Anyway, be careful when you go back. This guy probably doesn't come with good intentions." Lin Yi nodded. Because of this incident with Kong Ming Ming, Lin Yi and Ling Shan didn't have the mood to shop anymore. They went back to House Song. At the Song family's dinner, Lin Yi told Song Xianghua about his encounter with Kong Ming Ming. Song Ling Rui and Song Xianghua didn't know who Kong Ming Ming was, but Lin Yi explained his identity to them. "That's weird. This Kong Ming is an elder of the Sky Elixir sect and the son-in-law of the Five Elements sect. Why would he come all the way here to meddle in this?" Song Ling Rui found it strange as well. He even found out that there's a foreign master coming here to attack us. "I'm curious too. I keep feeling that the foreign master seems to have some connection with Kong Ming Ming. As for what connection, I'm not sure yet." Lin Yi shook his head. "Forget it. We'll deal with it when it comes." Song Ling Rui waved her hand and said indifferently, "Although the Five Elements sect is strong, after brother-in-law killed a few of their masters, there's no one left. Even if their Xianqin elder is very strong, if he comes personally, it'll be easy for me and second grandpa, brother-in-law, and that helper to destroy them. It's always good to be careful. Rui, don't be arrogant." Ling Shan frowned and reminded her. She realized that Song Ling Rui was a little overconfident now. She relied too much on and believed in Lin Yi's strength. "All right, what you said makes sense. It's good to be careful. However, with the Five Elements sect strength, even if Xianqin comes, we still have the confidence to fight them." Lin Yi nodded. "Haha, brother-in-law is still the best." Song Ling Rui looked at Ling Shan proudly. Ling Shan shook her head, helplessly. There was nothing she could do. The family finished dinner together and was about to go back to rest when suddenly they heard a loud shout coming from the Song house's door. "Song family, listen up. The Five Elements sect's messenger has arrived. Please come out and welcome him." The voice was very abrupt, and it shocked everyone present. However, when they heard the words Five Elements sect's messenger, their faces showed a look of understanding. Just when they were talking about Kong Ming Ming, Kong Ming came. Speak of the devil and he will come. However, this voice was not Kong Ming Ming's. Let's go and have a look. Lin Yi unknowingly became the backbone of the Song family. Lin Yi saw that Song Xiangwen and Song Xianghua were looking at him, so he nodded and stood up first. Chapter 34-37. Second watch, asking for votes. They weren't as nervous as they were the first time the fire wolves came. With Lin Yi here, they had more confidence. Song Lingrui was even more excited, as if there was going to be a good show. House Song, under Lin Yi's lead, arrived at the gate. Lin Yi saw Kong Mingming, a stranger, and 3 acquaintances standing beside them. Lin Yi hadn't seen this stranger before, but judging from his clothes, he should be a disciple of 5 Elements sect. Lin Yi wondered what his rank was. The other 3 acquaintances, however, made Lin Yi frown. They were from House Zhao, Zhao Qibing, Zhao Guangyin, and Mian Huachuan. Why were the 3 of them here? Kong Mingming, you came to talk to me in the day, and now you've brought people here at night. Are you here to destroy me and House Song? Lin Yi looked at Kong Mingming and said coldly, Ha! Lin Yi, are you still not going to make a move? Kong Xiaoming laughed and said, The reason why I came here is that the 5 Elements sect and the Fire Wolves gang have started a full cooperation. Those 4 people were from the Fire Wolves gang. They were killed by the people you hired to flirt with the Li clan. How could we let you go? This time, not only you, but House Song will be finished, and we'll take that Song Lingrui with us. Now you can't call for help, and without the Fire Wolves, what will you do? Are you done? Lin Yi looked at Kong Mingming indifferently. You're that confident that you can destroy me? Of course, do you see? This is my second senior brother, a Sky Class Late Phase Peak, Full Circle Master. Kong Mingming pointed at the waiter beside him. If you think that he's the only Sky Class Late Phase Peak Full Circle Master, then you're wrong. There's more. There's more? Lin Yi frowned and turned to look at the 3 masters from House Zhao. They were the only ones present, and there was no one else. Kong Xiaoming said that there were more people, so it could only be these 3. But Lin Yi knew that they weren't that strong, so he didn't pay much attention to them. But now that he saw them, Lin Yi was shocked. These 3 people were actually at the peak of the late stage of Heaven Realm? How was that possible? How could the strength of these 3 people increase so quickly? Lin Yi would believe it if they were all inheritors, but 3 normal practitioners from the Zhaos were able to enter the ranks of top-level practitioners in such a short amount of time? Wasn't this a little too unbelievable? However, Kong Ming didn't know that Lin Yi had such a cheat. He turned to Kong Mingming and smiled. What? Tell me about it. These 3 masters from House Zhao are now masters of our 5 Elements sect. They are also my bodyguards and thugs. Killing you is just a game. Kong Mingming looked at Lin Yi fiercely. Now I'll give you a chance. Tell us, how did these 4 overseas masters die? That's how they died. Lin Yi said lightly, Hey, I think you want to do it the hard way. Kong Mingming's face changed. He didn't expect Lin Yi to be so relaxed when facing 4 Sky Class Late Phase Peak Full Circle Masters. He was a little unhappy. Second brother, teach him a lesson. Let him know who's in charge here. Don't you want to avenge Big Brother? Eldest senior brother was killed by him. Lin Yi, right? I've heard of you. Little fool said lightly. You couldn't beat him, so you found someone else to kill Big Brother. How despicable and shameless. I've been wanting to get even with you for a long time. Hee hee, are you talking about Kong Mingming? You can't beat me, so you got a bunch of people to help you? Lin Yi smiled faintly. Song Lingrui looked at Lin Yi in surprise. The first time Kong Xiaoming called out Lin Yi's name, she thought she heard it wrong and thought it was Ling Yi, but this time she was sure that little fool was calling out Lin Yi's name. Not Ling Yi. This person is Lin Yi. Isn't that the person I want to kill? How is this possible? Although Ling Yi and Lin Yi's names were similar, Song Lingrui didn't mind. After all, it was like the Chinese listening to the names of foreigners. There were many similar pronunciations, so they felt the same. Song Lingrui grew up overseas, so naturally it was the same. She felt that there were many names with similar pronunciations in China, so she didn't think too much about it in the beginning. Now that she thought about it carefully, She finally understood the weird expression on her sister's face when she heard Lin Yi's name. This Ling Yi was Lin Yi, the person she wanted to assassinate, and also her brother-in-law. Thinking of this possibility, Song Lingrui felt a little discouraged and scared. If this person wasn't Song Lingrui's brother-in-law, she would be beaten to death if she went to him. Didn't they see how tragically those 4 fire wolf war gods died? Song Lingrui sighed. Luckily, she didn't do anything stupid, or she wouldn't even know how she died. Don't say those useless things. Kong Mingming wasn't happy that his shortcomings were exposed. Look, these masters from House Zhao that you stepped on before are now ruthless people. You'll cry later. Lin Yi glanced at the masters from House Zhao, his eyes cold. Zhao Qibing, long time no see. You're still showing off? Ha ha! Lin Yi, the winner is the king, the loser is the bandit. I, Zhao Qibing, have finally made it. Not only you, but Meng Yao and Yushu as well. The humiliation and pain they gave me, I'll definitely get them back. After you die, they'll follow in your footsteps. Zhao Qibing was finally powerful, so he started shouting crazily. Is that so? Then don't regret it later, Lin, he said faintly. Choosing to go against me won't end well. Don't look down on you just because you're a peak perfection heaven rank expert. You should know that I'm the best at leapfrogging. Instant kill. Zhao Qibing's face changed slightly as he thought of the past, but he calmed down immediately. Instant kill a sky, class late phase peak peak peak. What a joke. Why don't you do it for me? I've already killed you. What else can you do? Lin Yi looked at Zhao Qibing mockingly. Chapter 34-38. Today's first update, asking for votes. His purpose for coming here this time was to avenge little E, so since there was a chance, he would use Lin Yi as a show of strength. He didn't hold back and directly activated the chant, smashing his staff at Lin Yi's face. Little Fool was fast, but Lin Yi was prepared. He wore the gale-chasing lightning boots, and with the butterfly micro-steps, he easily dodged Little Fool's attack. This speed depended on who it was. If it was against Song Lingrui and Song Xianghua, they might be unprepared, but Lin Yi had the gale-chasing lightning boots and the butterfly micro-steps. It would be strange if he was hit even if he was prepared. Little Fool saw that Lin Yi dodged and couldn't help but be stunned. He thought that his speed was the fastest in the 5-element sect, and he had never seen anyone who could dodge it so easily. But Lin Yi dodged it. He quickly wanted to chase after Lin Yi, but as soon as he turned his head, he saw a palm with hot flames slapping towards him. The 12th form of the Frenzy 8 trigrams palm. Lin Yi shouted and took this opportunity to slap Little Fool. Since Little Fool wanted to use him to establish his dominance, he was actually using Little Fool to establish his dominance. These few days of training in House Song, Lin Yi could already successfully activate the 12th form of the Frenzy 8 trigrams palm. The power of the 12th form was already not small, and with the addition of the Essence Energy Necklace, this slap, even if Little Fool didn't die, he would be a cripple. Boom! Dash! Little Fool's entire body flew out with the wind from Lin Yi's palm and landed beside Kong Mingming. His legs twitched for a moment, and then he stopped moving. No one knew whether he was dead or alive. Kong Mingming was dumbfounded, and so were the 3 masters of House Zhao. What was going on? He was killed instantly. All right, it's done. Zhao Qibing, did you see that? Lin Yi smiled as he looked at Zhao Qibing. He didn't look like someone who had just killed a sky-class late-phase peak at all. Ugh. Qibing's face turned ashen as he knelt on the ground with a thud, pissing himself. Kong Mingming's face turned pale. He never thought that Lin Yi would be so powerful that he could kill Little Fool in one move. Could it be that Lin Yi had the ability to kill Little One that day, yet didn't do so and sought out the Bubbly clan for other purposes? For a moment, Kong Mingming did not know what to do. He stood there, unable to advance or retreat. Master Bing, what's wrong? Is there something wrong with your leg? Lin Yi looked at Qibing mockingly. He had used up all his pure qi. because he realized that he could only use the 12th form of the Frenzy 8 trigrams palm once with his strength at the peak of heaven rank middle stage. It was impossible to activate it even a little more, as it consumed too much of his physical strength and true chi. So, although he looked powerful on the surface, he was actually using this time to recover his physical strength and true chi. If these three masters from House Zhao came to cause trouble for Lin Yi and surround Lin Yi, then Lin Yi would have to summon the purple electric beast and run, because he didn't have enough pure chi to activate the butterfly microsteps. Ah, right, I practiced the 1,000 kicks, so there's some side effects. Haha, I can't stand properly often, and I kneel when I see Hayashi Lin. Qibing laughed dryly. It seems that the side effects of increasing my strength too quickly are quite obvious. Oh, I see, Lin Yi nodded. Then what are you three masters from House Zhao doing here? Are you here to attack me and House Song? Come, I'll kill you three in 1 second. And I still need to go back for dinner. Getting interrupted in the middle of dinner. How annoying. Cough. Qibing was scared out of his wits, and Zhao Guangyin and Mian Huachuan subconsciously took 2 steps back. This Lin Yi was simply too strong. Back then, Lin Yi was like a god of death, washing House Zhao with blood. They thought that by relying on the 5 Elements sect and enduring so much pain, one day, when they become the top masters of Sky Stage Great Perfection, they could kill Lin Yi and avenge the extermination of Zhao family. But today, they regretfully realized that the difference between their dreams and reality was too big. They realized that it was impossible for them to kill Lin Yi and take revenge. At least, it was impossible in this lifetime. In the past, Lin Yi's strength wasn't this high, and they always had hope, but once Lin Yi stepped into the peak of the secular world and could instantly kill Sky-class masters, they lost all hope. Sometimes, hope and giving up was just a matter of a thought. Unless they could ascend to the heavenly Tao, that unreachable legendary realm. But masters like them, who were artificially modified, would never be able to ascend again in their lifetime. If they didn't use medicine to maintain themselves and their bodies lost the medicine, they wouldn't even be as strong as before, just a lot weaker than normal people. But now, the 3 of them felt dispirited. It was impossible. They would never be able to take revenge. Lin Yi's strength had extinguished all thoughts of revenge in this instant. Oh, God, Lin Yi, we're just here to watch the show. Actually, we've seen through the world a long time ago, and we've wanted to leave the 5 Elements sect for a long time. We're going to convert to Buddhism, yes, to become monks. We're leaving. Ami Tofu, I'm leaving. Zhao Qibing said incoherently and turned to run. Zhao, Guangyin, and Mian Huachuan were also running behind him. The 3 of them were running as fast as they could possibly run, but their thoughts were the same, and that was to find a place to live in seclusion. Since there was no hope for revenge in this lifetime, there was no point in playing with the 5 Elements sect. They'd just live the rest of their lives in peace. House Zhao still had a sizable amount of savings overseas, enough for the 3 of them to live. Seeing his 3 bodyguards running away, Kong Mingming was a little numb. Wasn't this betrayal a little too fast? Zhao Ming, you're not honest. You didn't say you were coming to visit when you bumped into me. If I knew you were coming, I'd have to prepare myself. Lin Yi looked at Kong Mingming alone and said with a smile that wasn't a smile, Haha, Lin Yi boss, you must be joking. I was forced. It's Miss Lan from the center. It's her. She asked me to investigate the deaths of the 4 overseas masters. The 3 biohumans of House Zhao were also modified by the center. I'm just leading the way. It has nothing to do with me. Kong Mingming explained carefully with a sad face. Really? What's the center? Isn't it the Fire Wolf Gang? Lin Yi asked back. Chapter 34-39. This is the second update. To be honest, it was very hard to take care of the inferior manfish and update 2 new and 2 old books every day. However, seeing the expectations of many readers, I had to keep updating, asking for votes. Oh, Lin Yi frowned slightly. So the center and the Five Elements sect are cooperating, and the people from the center want to deal with the Song family and capture Song Linghui, right? That's right. So, it has nothing to do with me. That Xiao Er wanted to avenge Xiao Yi, so he was eager to make a move. I have already persuaded him on the way that Boss Lin Yi is extremely powerful and that he is no match for him at all. Beating him is like beating a dog, but he doesn't believe me. Kong Ming explained, but there is no other way. He has been in the Five Elements sect for too long. He doesn't know how powerful the outside world is and how many masters there are. Let's not talk about him. If he is dead, then so be it. Then why are you here? Lin Yi asked with a smile. I am here to look for the body I told you. Kong Ming said quickly. Oh, the body is not here. Lin Yi waved his hand and said, Next time, when I see you, bring me the elixir. I will remember today's account. If you don't have the elixir, you can only die, because you are worthless to me. Okay. Of course. Kong Xiaoming quickly nodded. He didn't think that he would be able to escape death. How lucky! Then you can go. I won't ask you to stay for dinner. Lin Yi did not kill Kong Ming. First, it was because of the Qi gathering elixir. Second, the most important thing was that he really did not want to be in a deadlock with the Five Elements sect at the last moment. After all, the Five Elements sect was the initiator of the inheritor plan. Those inheritors were all related to Lin Yi. Lin Yi did not want to become enemies with ancestor Xianqin prematurely. Now that Xiao Er was dead, but Kong Ming was released, it could be considered as giving ancestor Xianqin face. They must have been the ones looking for trouble first. So Patriarch Xianqin could only suffer in silence. He didn't know how many of Patriarch Xuanqin's disciples were left. Most of them were probably dead, right? All right then, Boss Lin Yi, I'm leaving. Kong Ming heaved a sigh of relief as if he had been pardoned. He quickly turned around and ran. However, he suddenly thought of the waiter's dead body and did not dare to turn back. Take this person's corpse back. There was no point for Lin Yi to keep it. Also, you can take the corpses of the 4 overseas experts as well. However, this staff is a good weapon. I'm confiscating it. Of course. Kong Ming didn't dare to say no. Returning the corpse to him was already good enough. The people from the Song family quickly carried out 4 woven silk bags and threw them on the ground beside the waiter's corpse. Kong Ming put these things into his car, then jumped into the car and sped away. Looking at Kong Ming's back as he left, Lin Yi didn't say anything else. Instead, he turned to the people from the Song family and said he probably won't come again. There shouldn't be many experts left in the Five Elements sect. Even if there are experts at the full circle of Heaven stage, Xiao Rui and Second Grandpa have a chance of winning. Moreover, they won't come to die. Wow, brother-in-law, you're so handsome. You've only broken through 1 level and you can instantly kill experts at the peak of the late stage of Heaven stage? Song Lingrui looked at Lin Yi curiously. Do you know that the mission from the Overseas Cultivators Association was for me to kill you? I know. Lin Yi didn't expect Song Lingrui to not be embarrassed after knowing his identity. Instead, she acted like this. When do you plan to do it? While I'm sleeping. Haha, how is that possible? I'm not that stupid. Song Lingrui shook her head. If I kill you, what about my sister? Moreover, I can't beat you. What if you're dreaming and kill me in 1 hit? How am I going to explain that? Lin Yi smiled. He didn't expect the awkwardness between them to be resolved so easily. So, young hero Ling Yi is Lin Yi. No wonder the Overseas Cultivators Association suffered such a big loss. This time, even the Five Elements sect and the Fire Wolf gang suffered heavy losses. They should really regret being enemies with you. Song Shenghua also said, It's all right. I can only kill experts at the full circle of heaven stage in one hit after I broke through. Otherwise, I would have to fight them twice before. Lin, he sweated a little. Brother-in-law, what kind of mental cultivation method and martial arts technique are these? Why are they so powerful? Can I cultivate it? Song Lingrui asked. If you can bear hardships, you can cultivate it too. However, this mental cultivation method is extremely masculine. You're a girl, so you shouldn't be able to cultivate it, Linny said. Moreover, it seems that other than me, it's difficult for others to make progress in their cultivation. Lin, he was talking about the space in the jade pendant. Without the space in the jade pendant, Lin Yi's art of dragon mastery would always be stagnant. All right, forget it then. Song Lingrui shook her head. Brother-in-law, do you know about the Heaven Stage trial? The Heaven Stage trial? What's that? Lin, he shook his head. He seemed to have vaguely heard of it, but he wasn't sure. It's a trial initiated by the Five Elements sect. I heard that the trial this time is the final list of candidates who can participate in the Heaven Stage meeting. Only the cultivators who successfully pass the trial have the opportunity to attend the Heaven Stage meeting. Song Lingrui explained. Heaven Stage meeting? What does that mean? Linny asked. The Heaven Stage meeting is a meeting for everyone to discuss how to land on the Heaven Stage island. Only those who attend the meeting are qualified to participate in the plan to land on the island. Song Lingrui said. Oh, I see. In other words, if all the cultivators want to participate in the Heaven Stage meeting and obtain the opportunity to advance to the Heavenly Tao, they must first participate in the trial, right? Lin roughly understood what Song Lingrui meant. To be honest, he didn't know these things before and no one told him. You can say that, but every ancient sect and ancient family has a fixed quota of participants. However, this person's strength must be at the peak of the late stage of Heaven Stage. If not, it's considered as giving up the opportunity. Song Lingrui said, as for other cultivators, not everyone can participate in the Heaven Stage trial. There are also conditions. There are conditions? What conditions? Lin asked quickly. Although he felt that there was no problem if he forced himself to participate in the Heaven Stage meeting, it was better to go according to normal circumstances if there were other feasible paths. Chapter 3440. Asking for votes. These days, the merman has been taking care of the little manfish and writing novels, so he has a serious lack of sleep. His wife is on the day shift, and the merman is on the night shift. They take turns to take care of the little manfish and the children. They wake up every 1 or 2 hours and make a fuss. The old people in the family have not retired yet, so they can only help on the weekends. However, the merman has promised that there will be a lot of updates on the weekends, which are the rest days of the merman. There will be one update on the weekends, because I really can't hold on anymore and need to take a break. So individual cultivators don't have a chance? Lin, he was slightly stunned. Doesn't this mean that individual cultivators are rejected? No, individual cultivators also have a chance. In order to balance things out, the rules for individual cultivators to participate in the trial have been established many years ago. That is, individual cultivators who have a fragment of the map of the Heavenly Stage Island can use one of the fragments as a registration qualification to participate in the trial of the Heavenly Stage. Song Lingrui said. However, this map fragment was hidden very secretly in the past. I guess there are not many individual cultivators who have it. A fragment of the map of the Heavenly Stage Island? Lin Yi's heart moved slightly. Could it be the map fragment that he collected? He didn't know what it was before, but now it seemed that it was really possible. Yes, but of course it is not the real map of the Heavenly Stage Island. It is a copy of the map. After the Five Elements sect copied it, it was cut and distributed. The purpose is to let individual cultivators have the opportunity to participate in the trial. Song Lingrui said. It turned out to be an admission ticket. Lin nodded. That made sense. If it really was some kind of treasure map, there wouldn't be a single piece missing. It would be too hard to gather all of them. But if it was an admission ticket, only one of them could be used. This would also explain why these maps were so well hidden. Then, if I don't have the map fragment, does that mean I can't go? Lin asked, unfazed. In theory, yes. But this time, in order to let me kill you, the Overseas Cultivators Association arranged for me to participate in the trial. Brother-in-law, you will also be allowed to participate, Song Lingrui said. Why? Does the Overseas Cultivators Association have the ability to influence the 5 Elements sect's decision? Lin, he was slightly stunned. But that's not right. The 5 Elements sect is now working with that center. So the 5 Elements sect and the Overseas Cultivators Association should be opposing each other. How can they influence each other? I'm the only one who's opposing me, Song Lingrui said with a wry smile. Actually, I know a secret. The president of our Overseas Cultivators Association, He Luan, is the younger brother of the current acting sect master of the 5 Elements sect, ancestor Xianqin. What? Lin Yi's eyes widened. He didn't expect there to be such a secret. These two were actually brothers. The relationship between the two was really complicated. That's right. Elder Xuanqin's real name is He Jinwu. They are blood brothers. In the early years, He Jinwu was also a member of the 5 Elements sect. However, he drifted overseas and founded the Overseas Cultivators Association. Song Lingrui said, only the higher-ups of the Overseas Cultivators Association, like my second grandpa, know these secrets. I didn't expect that. Lin Yi sighed and said, so, in order for you to kill me, He Jinwu will ask Elder Xianqin to help me arrange a place for the heaven-level trial. I think so. Song Lingrui nodded. But it's hard to say if they will now. After all, if they communicate with each other, it might reveal our relationship. I see. Lin, he didn't care. Even if he didn't arrange for him, he had the map fragment as an admission ticket to the heaven-level trial. At that time, it was not up to Elder Xianqin to change the rules announced by the 5 Elements sect. That would be too embarrassing. Kong Mingming left. The Song family also went back, and it was time for Lin Yi to go back. Xiao Shu was leaving, and Lin Yi had to pick up little Jiu to go to the Yellow Earth sect. There wasn't much time left. The listing of the 1st and 2nd grade automatic medicinal cauldrons almost wiped out the business of the Heavenly Elixir sect. The entire medicinal cauldron market and the 1st and 2nd grade elixir market were almost monopolized by the 1st and 2nd grade automatic medicinal cauldrons. This made Elder Xianqin depressed to death. Miss Lan, when will Dr. Benjamin too be able to crack the latest medicine cauldron? Patriarch Xianqin asked every day. Soon. Science and technology are not like cultivation. How can it be so fast? Mr. Xianqin, don't be impatient. There will be an answer soon. Miss Lan said. Report dash. Suddenly, a disciple shouted loudly outside the door. Who? What's the matter? Old ancestor, Xianqin asked. Now little one was dead. Little heir had gone to cause trouble for Lin Yi, and the remaining disciples of old ancestor Xianqin were either dead or crippled. Xianqin hadn't found anyone to replace little heir yet, so the disciple who shouted was in charge of cleaning the soul jade plate room. Reporting to Elder Xianqin, something bad has happened. The disciple hurriedly walked into Elder Xuanqin's room and said, Second senior brother's soul jade card is broken. What? At this moment, Elder Xuanqin's head suddenly buzzed. He suddenly stood up and stared at the disciple. What did you say? Little fool's soul jade card is broken? Are you sure? Elder Xianqin, how can I lie? It happened just now. The disciple said carefully with a bitter face, Take me to see. Elder Xianqin was anxious. He didn't care that Miss Lan was still beside him. He rushed out of the room and followed the disciple. Miss Lan didn't care about this. She also frowned. She knew Little Fool's strength. He was a top-notch expert at the Great Perfection Realm. If something happened to him now, what did that mean? The 3 reformed disciples of the Zhao family were probably dead. Was this Lin Yi really that powerful? He could actually kill so many people? Miss Lan also followed. They arrived at the place where the Soul Jade tablet was stored. She saw Patriarch Xianqin stride to the front of a broken tablet. His gaze was a little dull. As expected, Little Fool is also finished. Looking at the row of broken Soul Jade cards, Elder Xianqin seemed to have aged a lot at this moment. What kind of sin did he commit? Could it be that he had plotted to persecute and drive out Elder Xianqin back then, and now Boss Bai's disciple had come to take revenge on him? Which of these disciples' deaths had nothing to do with Lin Yi? Mr. Xianqin, my condolences. If something happens to Little Fool, those 3 experts of the Zhao family probably won't be able to return. Miss Lan sighed and said, It seems that I'm not the only one who suffered heavy losses. It's the same on your side. We all have a common enemy. Although that's the case, it would be great if you could really restrain your grief. Lin Yi, I must kill you, Elder Xianqin shouted with a ferocious expression. By the way, where's the illuminating jade card? Is he all right? Chapter 3441. Senior Brother Kang's memorial tablet is very good. There's nothing wrong with it. The disciple quickly said, That's good. Patriarch Xianqin breathed a sigh of relief and nodded. In that case, Kong Mingming will be back soon. Let's wait for him to come back and see the details. Patriarch Xianqin was right. This time, Kong Mingming didn't dare to go back to the Kong family to show off. After leaving the Song family, he hurriedly drove back to the 5-element sect. That night, Patriarch Xianqin saw Kong Mingming, who had returned. Father-in-law, it's not good. Lin Yi is too powerful. No, we're simply nurturing a tiger. We should have killed him long ago. As soon as Kong Mingming entered the door, he shouted incoherently. What do you mean? If we could have killed him, we would have done it long ago. Why would we have waited until now? Patriarch Xianqin frowned. At this moment, he had temporarily calmed down from his sadness. He stared at Kong Mingming and said, I already know about Little Fool. Tell me in detail what's going on. Is Lin Yi really that powerful? It's like this. According to your suggestion, I went to Yanjing City first. Little Fool and I stayed in a nearby hotel to observe the Song family situation. Kong Mingming said. After a few days of observation, we didn't find any people from the Paoli clan, so I planned to test Lin. As he spoke, Kong Mingming recounted the events in detail to Patriarch Xianqin. However, when he heard that they went to the door and Lin Yi killed Little Fool with one palm, Patriarch Xianqin completely lost his composure this time. What did you say? Lin Yi killed Little Fool with one palm? Is that true? Patriarch Xianqin felt that it was a little unbelievable. Even he didn't dare to say that he could kill a heaven stage great perfection expert in one go because it was impossible. It's true. Father-in-law, why would I lie to you? Isn't this boosting the morale of others and destroying our own? Kong Xiaoming smiled bitterly. I saw it with my own eyes. Then, what about the 3 Zhao clan experts? Was he also killed by Lin Yi? Miss Lan asked. No, I haven't finished yet. Those 3 experts from the Zhao family are really traitors. After they pissed themselves, they ran away. I couldn't even stop them. Kong Mingming smiled bitterly and said, Not only did they surrender, but they also told Lin Yi about our cooperation. Lin Yi is now dissatisfied with us. They ran away? Patriarch Xianqin frowned immediately. The 3 of them were too gutless, weren't they? What kind of people were they? He clearly had the strength, but he didn't even have the courage to fight. He was too trashy. Yeah, I really don't know what to say. Kong Mingming said helplessly, Originally, according to our previous analysis, Although Lin Yi can kill experts who are above his level, he should also have to pay a certain price under some special circumstances. He can't kill them consecutively. Therefore, if the three of them besieged Lin Yi at this time, it was still very likely that they could kill Lin Yi. But who would have thought that before I could give the order, they ran away first? AI, Miss Lon, this time, it's not that our 5 elements sect didn't contribute, but you saw the situation. Patriarch Xianqin turned to look at Miss Lon and said, "It's not your fault this time." Miss Lon shook her head. However, she was dispensable. She didn't hate Lin Yi that much. Her main purpose of staying here was actually to study the biohuman transformation. Even if Lin Yi was hateful, it couldn't be said to be a feud. Since this person was so powerful, Miss Lon planned to avoid conflict with him for the time being. It's good that Miss Lon can understand. Patriarch Xianqin nodded. Don't worry, we will definitely get rid of this Lin Yi. Okay, since it's confirmed that it was done by Lin Yi and the others, then I will go back and rest first. Miss Lon nodded and left. At this moment, only Patriarch Xianqin and Kong Mingming were left in the room. Father-in-law, we must get rid of Lin Yi this time. If we don't get rid of this person, he will definitely become a problem for us in the future. Kong Mingming said, now he is an expert at the peak of the middle stage of Heaven Stage. If he continues to grow, we won't be a match for him at all. That's right. Patriarch Xianqin nodded and strengthened the belief in his heart. He said, how about this? You will start refining pills tomorrow and refine the extreme qi gathering pill. You must quickly kill Lin Yi. If you wait any longer, it will be too late. Okay, I will start refining pills tomorrow. Kong Mingming actually thought so too. Lin Yi's strength level was getting higher and higher. If this continued, if Lin Yi really fell to the great perfection of Heaven Stage, then the qi gathering pill would have no effect on Lin Yi. At that time, even if it was refined for Lin Yi might not want it. Therefore, this matter had to be done as soon as possible. Otherwise, it would be too late. Sigh, although this move is a little despicable, I have to do it. Even if Boss Bai blames me, I have to do it. Patriarch Xianqin finally made up his mind. Before, it was because Boss Bai wanted to train a wood element inheritor, so he had to save some face for Lin Yi. But now Lin Yi had reached the point where he had to get rid of him. All right, father-in-law, I'll put down everything I'm doing and focus on refining elixirs for a while. Kong Mingming nodded and said he had also made up his mind. He had to refine pills and kill Lin Yi. I will communicate with Boss Bai and sound him out. At the same time, I will talk about the Heaven Stage trial. Patriarch Xianqin said, according to the normal rules, he is also the leader of the 5 Elements sect. I have to give him face and let him arrange for his disciple to participate in the trial. Lin Yi. Kong Mingming was slightly stunned. Lin Yi is still coming to the trial? Then how are we going to deal with him? Second senior brother has fallen, and the 3 experts of the Zhao family are also finished. Only the young leader of the Sky Silkworm transformation is left. He is no match for Lin Yi, right? It's not Lin Yi. Boss Bai's spot can only be given to Guan Xan. Lin Yi can't come. If I don't agree, he can't participate in the trial. Patriarch Xianqin said lightly, since we are going to use pills to kill him, why let him participate in the trial? Is he here to cause trouble? Don't let this kind of person come. He is related to several inheritors. I'm afraid that something will go wrong. Well, that's good. Then I can go and practice with peace of mind. Kong Mingming breathed a sigh of relief. Previously, what he looked forward to the most was to kill Lin Yi during the Heaven Stage trial. But now, what he was most afraid of was that Lin Yi would participate in the trial. These were 2 completely different feelings. Chapter 3442. Eldest Senior Brother. It's me. Patriarch Xianqin said. Xianqin, what's the matter? Boss Bai asked lightly. The Heaven Step trial is about to begin. Logically speaking, you also have a spot on your side. When will you give me your disciples' information so that I can complete the registration? Patriarch Xianqin probed. You mean Lin Yi? Boss Bai was slightly stunned. Don't you have his information? You're letting Lin Yi come? You're not letting Guan Xan come? Patriarch Xianqin asked. Guan Xan? Boss Bai was slightly stunned. Inheritors also need to participate in the trial? Inheritors must participate in the trial. This time, I will arrange for all inheritors to receive the final inheritance in the trial ground. They will all be promoted to the peak of heaven level late stage, and their physiques will also undergo the final and complete change in preparation for the final plan. Patriarch Xianqin said. Then, Lin Yi can't participate? Boss Bai frowned. To be honest, he originally wanted to let Lin Yi go, and then wait for Lin Yi to pass the trial before taking him to participate in the heaven level meeting. But now he couldn't even participate in the trial. Wasn't that equivalent to being rejected by the heaven level meeting? Then, wouldn't the opportunity to advance to heavenly Dao be with Lin Yi? This wasn't what Boss Bai wanted to see. In fact, he also knew that Patriarch Xianqin was deliberately making things difficult. Wasn't the 5 Elements sect in charge of the registration for the heaven level trial? If he let Lin Yi go, Lin Yi would definitely be able to go, but the main problem was on Patriarch Xianqin's side. Let's see, Patriarch Xianqin said. Right now, Lin Yi's strength is still too low. He chased after Kong Mingming to help him refine the qi-gathering pill. If his strength is higher, then there's no harm in letting him participate. The main thing is that I'm afraid that he'll die because he's too weak. Kong Mingming? Alchemy? Qi-gathering pill? Boss Bai also knew about this, but the so-called Lin Yi was too weak was just Elder Xuanqin's excuse. Yes, but Zhao Ming's standards are limited. I don't know if he can successfully refine it. Even if he can, I'm afraid that Lin Yi will get sick from eating it. So, when you have time, persuade him not to chase after Zhao Ming to refine pills, Patriarch Xianqin said. Of course. Boss Bai didn't know Elder Xuanqin's cunning mind. He just hinted to Boss Bai that Lin Yi wouldn't blame him even if he died. Therefore, Boss Bai said angrily, You have to keep your promise. This is the junior's business. Let's leave it alone. All right, then. Patriarch Xianqin sighed, pretending to be displeased. In fact, he was overjoyed. Boss Bai was still as gullible as before. Everything was under his control. Anything else? Asked Boss Bai. There's nothing else. Since you've said so, I'll ask Kong Mingming to concoct pills. I don't care if he dies, Patriarch Xianqin said. Can you die from eating qi-gathering pill? Even if you don't eat it well, you won't get sick. Do you think you know more than me when discussing alchemy with me? Boss Bai asked lightly. Haha, of course not. Forget it. I'll hang up if there's nothing else. As for Guan Xan, you should also prepare for her to participate in the heaven class trial, Patriarch Xianqin said. After hanging up the phone, Patriarch Xianqin was very excited. This time, Lin Yi died from eating it. He could say that he had already told Boss Bai about it, but Boss Bai didn't listen to him. This time he died because he deserved it. Lin Yi returned to Donghai City from the Song family. Shu was leaving. She had received an official notice from House Yu. So this time, Xiao Chen was going back to send her to Fiery Mountain. When he arrived at Donghai City, Lin Yi already saw Yui sitting in the living room of the villa. Yushu was a little depressed. During this period, she understood everything. She knew about House Yu's efforts all these years, and she also knew her own identity. This made her force a smile during this period of time. In fact, she was very lonely and repulsed in her heart. After so many years, she suddenly realized that the beliefs that she had been holding on to all these years didn't exist. Yu Shaoqin was her father. She had never met this father, but he gave her endless pressure. He made up a big lie with Yui, causing Yushu to have no father-daughter feelings for him at all. He didn't let her go back to House Yu, and she was too lazy to go back. The Chin family was her home. The villas in Donghai and Songshan were her home. Where Lin Yi and Meng Yao were, that was her home. Mr. Yui, you're here. Lin Yi entered the villa and nodded to him. Yui smiled bitterly. Yushu's identity was exposed, and he didn't need to hide it anymore. He looked at Lin Yi and said, Miss Yushu doesn't care about me, and she doesn't talk to me. Young hero Lin, you see. It's time for her to leave for Fiery Mountain. Before, Yui could still use Yushu's parents to threaten her. That was a high and mighty attitude. But now, Yushu's identity was exposed. She was also the young miss of House Yu. How could Yui dare to order her around? Besides, even if he wanted to order her around, it had to be Yushu who listened to him. Yushu was no longer the Yushu of the past. With Lin Yi's protection, not to mention the hidden House Yu, even the Five Elements sect didn't dare to order her around. In the world of practitioners, strength was everything. To put it bluntly, whoever was stronger would have more influence. Shu, pack up and get ready. We have to accept the inheritance sooner or later. The sooner we accept it, the sooner we can reunite with Yao Yao. Isn't this the life you've always wanted? Lin Yi smiled. Shield bro, you're back. Shu didn't say I wouldn't go. I just don't have anything in common with this old man. Yushu saw that Lin Yi was back. She was like a different person from before. She was happy all of a sudden, and Yui didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Haha, that's good. I told you that there's no way you wouldn't want to go. Lin Yi smiled. Then let's pack up and get ready to go. Shu's packed up. We're just waiting for Shield bro, Yushu said as she skipped up the stairs. Evidently, she was going to get something. Yui saw that Yushu agreed to go to Fiery Mountain so easily. He didn't know what to say. He looked at Lin Yi and said, Young hero Lin, you're the best. I've been trying to persuade her for a long time. But Miss Yushu just won't talk to me. Chapter 3443. Miss Yushu is indeed. I'm considered lucky. It seems like Miss Yushu still has some feelings for me, because I'm from House Yu. Yui nodded and laughed at himself. Right, what's the arrangement? Are we going to Fiery Mountain directly? Lin Yi asked. Yes, it's already arranged. We'll just go there directly. Yui said, I hope that Master Lin can accompany us on the way. Otherwise, I'm afraid that Miss Yushu will have some conflict. Don't worry, I'll definitely go, not only because of Shu, but also because I promised a friend that I'd help him save someone. Lin Yi was talking about Hui Yenyun's playmate, Yang Shuajian. That's good. Yui breathed out in relief. It didn't take long for Yushu to pack up and come downstairs with a bag on her back. Just this much? Lin Yi looked at Yushu's backpack and was surprised. Wasn't this too little? There's not much to take, actually. It's just a laptop with pictures and videos of me, Yao Yao, and Shield Bro in there. Shu can look at it when she's lonely. I'm sure there are other daily necessities there, Yushu said. Lin Yi nodded silently. Yushu was right. What didn't Fiery Mountain have? The young head, Hui Yenyun, was Lin Yi's follower. If Yushu went, she'd be treated like a VIP. Right. Where's Xinyan and Pangolin? Lin Yi asked. Xinyan's sis went to school. Pangolin's resting in his room. Yu Dake went to Songshan to see Yu Xiaoka, Yushu said. Oh, that's why I didn't see them, Lin Yi realized. School started again in the blink of an eye. Lin Yi took out his phone and was about to call Bai Weitua to tell him that he couldn't go to school for a while. He'd ask him to take care of Xinyan, so that he'd be the first to know if anything happened to her. Although Lin Yi had left a lot of energy stones for Xinyan, he was still worried that something might happen to her. He dialed Bai Weitua's number, but the sound of the phone being turned off came from the other side, which made Lin Yi slightly surprised. It was not evening, but daytime. Why didn't Bai Weitua turn on his phone? Could it be that he was in class? However, Bai Weitua would also set his phone to vibrate during class. With that in mind, Lin Yi sent a message to Xinyan. Xinyan, I'm back. I'm bringing Shu to Fiery Mountain. Tell Bai Weitua to give me a call when you see him." It wasn't long before Sinyan replied, "I'm at school. Isn't Bai Weitua traveling overseas? He's not back yet." "He's not back yet?" Lin Yi looked at the message. School was already starting and he wasn't back yet. What a joke! However, Lin Yi didn't think much about it. According to Bai Weitua's exam results last semester, he also had the right to ask for leave. This was the privilege of Boss Bai's class. Just like Lin Yi, the top few students in the final exam also had the right to ask for leave whenever they wanted. "All right then, we're leaving. Are you coming back?" Lin Yi asked. "No, I still have classes here." "Have a safe trip." Sinyan didn't come back because she had just seen Lin Yi. There was no need for her to come back. Putting away his phone, Lin Yi nodded to Yui. "Let's go, shall we leave now? Did you drive here?" No." Yui was a bit embarrassed. He was a practitioner and he rarely drove. He always walked, maintaining his ancient style. "I'll drive then." Lin Yi didn't say much. The three left the courtyard and got on the Jeep Cherokee. Fiery Mountain was deep in the Hakanamada Desert, so Lin Yi knew the general direction. "Thank you, Master Lin." Yui nodded and sat in the back, giving the passenger seat to Yushu. The car went all the way to the Hakanamada Desert. Lin Yi had driven this road back and forth many times. He was very familiar with it, but this time he felt a little sad. Yushu was in the car, looking here and there, curious about everything, but Lin Yi could see the disappointment in her eyes. Even if she didn't show it, Lin Yi could still feel it. However, he didn't expose her. Instead, he accompanied her and laughed along the way. They talked about a lot of interesting things, including what happened in the Song family and Xiao heir of the Five Elements sect being killed. Haha, that elder Xianqian of Five Elements sect must be angry to death, right? Most of his disciples were crippled or killed by you. He's really unlucky to go against Shield Bro. Yushu laughed after hearing it, and then said sarcastically, "I don't know why the Hidden House You is so afraid of this Five Elements sect. They really have no guts." Yui sat in the back, and he was a little embarrassed. He thought to himself, "You have Lin Yi to support you, so you're not afraid? But we are. The Five Elements sect can't do anything to Lin Yi, but destroying House You is a piece of cake for them." Moreover, they didn't know that Lin Yi could grow so strong. When they first heard about Lin Yi was still a mystic class master, and in the blink of an eye he stood at the peak of the whole world of practitioners. Who could explain this change? "Okay, Shu, some things have to be faced eventually. You can't not see your birth parents for the rest of your life, can you?" Lin Yi smiled bitterly. "When that time comes, I'm afraid Xiao Ning won't be happy, right?" Okay, then I'll listen to Shield Bro, whatever you say." Yushu nodded. They talked and laughed along the way, and finally, the three of them entered Hakanamada Desert. However, the direction of Fiery Mountain was completely different from the direction of Polyclan. The desert was very big, and they were in the opposite direction. It was already very hot in the desert, but as the car moved forward, the weather became hotter and hotter. They were probably not far from Fiery Mountain. However, Lin Yi and Yushu were fine, but Yui was sweating profusely. He used to be the strongest among them, and he couldn't complain at this moment. He could only endure it silently, but he almost fainted in the end. Then Lin Yi turned on the car's air conditioner, and Yushu laughed like crazy. "Young hero Lin, why didn't you turn on the air conditioner earlier?" Yui felt a little better and said gloomily, Chapter 3444. The first update, there will be a second update soon, estimated in 2 hours. The Fishman's new book, Ultimate Cultivation Master, is already on the bookshelf. Readers who read on their phones, you can search and read it now. Please continue to support the Fishman. Sorry, the computer lagged. I pressed the paste button a few times and the content was overwritten. I'm changing it now. Yeah, we're having fun, Yushu nodded. Yu-E had been teased and mocked by Yushu along the way, but he accepted it. Who asked him to play the bad guy in front of Yushu? It was natural for him to be teased now, not to mention Yushu's identity as the young miss of Houseu. Even if Lin-E was beside her, he wouldn't dare do anything. Finally, it was no longer a desert in front of them, but a place that looked like a mountain. A mountain gate appeared in front of them, blocking their advance. Of course, they could go around it, but subconsciously, Lin-E felt that this was their destination. This is this fiery mountain. Lin-E looked at the map Yu-E gave him, comparing it to the map. It should be here. Yu-E had never been here before, but this was the only possible place in this direction. Just when everyone was confused, suddenly, 2 men in fiery red robes appeared in front of Lin-E's car. They shouted at Lin-E and the others. "This is private land. If you are an explorer, please go back. We don't accept explorations here, and it's very dangerous." Lin-E opened the window and looked at the 2 men. "This is Fiery Mountain." The 2 men paused, hearing Lin-E say the words Fiery Mountain. They were surprised. "Who are you? Why are you here? What's your purpose?" With that, the 2 showed their strength at the early phase of Sky Class. From their point of view, since Lin-E knew about this place, he could also be a practitioner. The reason they showed their strength was to intimidate Lin-E. After all, the early phase of Sky Class, even in the ancient times, was not weak. "We're from the Central Plains. I'm the representative of the Hidden House Yu-E. We've been ordered to meet the Rocket Cannon Headmaster. This is a letter from the head of our Hidden House Yu." At this time, Yuan walked down from the car and spoke to the 2 respectfully. However, in order to show that he was a cultivator and not a fake, he had to make sure that he was not a fake. Yui also revealed his strength as an early-stage heaven ranker. "Hidden House Yu?" One of them glanced sideways at Yui, and his attitude became incomparably cold. Although Yui's strength was the same as theirs, he didn't look up to him at all. How could a hidden aristocratic family's early-stage heaven rank expert compare to an ancient sect? "That's right, the Hidden House Yu." Yuan nodded. Hidden House Yu? He had never heard of such a small family. "If you want to see our sect master, then just wait. We will inform you when we have time," the man said arrogantly. He didn't have the slightest intention of immediately informing the sect master. He was slightly stunned. Then he smiled bitterly and added, "Our patriarch sent us here under the order of Patriarch Xianqin of the 5 Element sect." "Oh? What do you mean? You still want to use the 5 Elements sect to pressure us? All right, you can leave if you don't want to see us." The man looked at Yu-E coldly and said mockingly, "You guys!" Yu-E was really helpless. He didn't expect these 2 to be so difficult to talk to. But this was an ancient sect, not some other aristocratic family or hidden aristocratic family. So it was not easy to make these 2 obedient and help. Lin-E couldn't stand it anymore. He didn't like to use his identity and strength to pressure people. But these 2 people were really a bit too much. Lin-E looked at them indifferently and said, "Let Hu Xiaoyan come out and welcome me." "Huh." The man was stunned and turned to look at Lin-E. But then he laughed. "Ha ha ha. Welcome you. Who do you think you are? Welcome you. What a joke. A small hidden house Yu. Do they really think they're that big? It's up to you whether you want to notify them or not. If Yang Shuaisian dies, you too will be responsible," Lin-E said indifferently. "What?" The 2 of them were stunned. They looked at each other in shock. Before, they thought that Lin-E was also from the Hidden House Yu, but Lin-E said Hua Xiaoyun and Yang Shuaisian's names one after another. This wasn't as simple as a Hidden House Yu. Hua Xiaoyun was fine, but Yang Shuaisian was an elder's grandson. He didn't show his face much. Not only did Lin-E say it, but he also pointed out something. It meant that he knew Yang Shuaisian was injured. If that was the case, who are you? The leading man in red looked at Lin-E and asked, Hua Xiaoyan called me boss. Who do you think I am? Lin Yi said indifferently. The two's expression changed. They hesitated. Although they didn't know if it was true or not, they still said, Please wait, we'll go notify them. May I know your name? Lin Yi. Lin Yi said indifferently. What? You're Lin Yi. The leading man in red staggered and almost fell on his butt. He could ignore Yui's name, but Lin Yi's name was very famous. Moreover, Lin Yi wasn't bragging. Their young master, Hua Xiaoyan, had been talking about this name recently. He told everyone he met that his boss was Lin Yi and how amazing he was. Whatever he did today, he would do tomorrow. As long as it was news of Lin Yi in the ancient era, he would find out and tell the people in the sect. Although everyone's ears had calluses from hearing it, they also remembered this name deeply. They knew how amazing Lin Yi was. He could even kill the masters of the 5 Element sect. He wasn't a simple character, so the man in red was stunned. The other man in red quickly pulled the stunned man in red and said, So it's young hero Lin. We've heard of your great name for a long time. We admire you. Young hero Lin, please come with us and rest in the guest room. We'll immediately notify the young master to welcome you. If this person was really Lin Yi, then it was normal for him to humble himself. At that time, not only would Hua Xiaoyan not scold them, but he would also praise them. However, if it wasn't for Lin Yi, then Hua Xiaoyan would naturally deal with him. There was no loss. Well, you lead the way. Lin Yi nodded indifferently. Yui was dumbfounded. It turned out that Lin Yi's name was already well known in these ancient sections. He was really a powerful character. He'd been talking to them for half a day, and they didn't even bother reporting to him. But the moment Lin Yi opened his mouth, the two of them became so respectful. They really couldn't be compared. Chapter 34-45. After entering the mountain entrance, Lin Yi couldn't help but gasp in amazement. This was actually a scenic area surrounded by mountains. Outside was a circle of tall mountains, and inside there was another huge mountain. If it wasn't so hot here, it would probably be a good tourist attraction. Under the lead of 2 men in red, Lin Yi, Yushu, and Yui were brought to a place that looked like a gazebo. What surprised Lin Yi was that on the gazebo there were 3 big words written in flamboyant calligraphy. Guest Hall. He didn't expect that the guest hall of Fiery Mountain was actually outdoors. This also showed how hot this place was throughout the year. Of course, this was also because Fiery Mountain had inherited ancient customs. Otherwise, they could have installed air conditioning indoors like the Paoli clan. Lin Yi and the other 2 sat down, and a disciple served herbal tea. The herbal tea was refreshing and delicious, a specialty of this place. After drinking it, Lin Yi couldn't help but praise it. As for Yushu, she asked the disciple to bring more herbal tea. The disciple didn't dare to delay and quickly agreed. Not long after, before the disciple returned, he saw Hua Xiaoyan rushing over in a hurry. Seeing Lin Yi, he was surprised and happy. Boss Lin Yi, you're finally here. I've missed you so much. I wanted to find you, but I was afraid that you wouldn't be here. Haha, I was really busy a while ago. Otherwise I would have come here long ago. Lin Yi nodded. This is Yushu, your inheritor here. I'll leave her in your care from now on. Ah, don't worry, isn't this sis-in-law Shu? Treat this place like your own home. Hua Xiaoyan saw that Yushu was an inheritor and was a little surprised. He didn't expect Shu to really be an inheritor. Didn't this mean that from now on she and Lin Yi were a family? He. Shu likes this title. I'll give you 10 points. Yushu nodded happily. Lin Yi couldn't help but smile, and Yui didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Not long after, an old man walked over quickly, as if he was flying. Before he arrived, his voice could be heard. Is young hero Lin here? I, Bazooka, have failed to welcome you from afar. Please forgive me. Behind him, there was an old man who spoke respectfully. This old man is Yang Dingtian. I welcome young hero Lin's arrival. Yang Dingtian was obviously more humble than Rocket Launcher. Obviously, he knew that if he wanted his grandson to live, then he had to let Lin Yi take action. Therefore, he simply regarded himself as being in the same position as Hu Shouyun. It turns out that Elder Hua and Elder Yang are here. Lin Yi did not put on airs at this time and stood up directly. After all, they gave Lin Yi face. Lin Yi also gave them face. This was Burning Cloud sect, so Lin Yi could not be as arrogant as he was in other sections. I am Yu Yi of the Hidden House Yu. Under the orders of Yu Xing, I am escorting the inheritor here. This is a letter from our house Yu. Please have a look, Elder Hua. Yu Yi bowed respectfully and presented a letter. Haha, so it is Mr. Yu Yi. Please rise. Those who came with young hero Lin are Fiery Mountain's distinguished guests. No need to stand on ceremony. Rocket Launcher laughed and quickly walked over to take the letter. Yu Yi almost teared up. It was so different being with Lin Yi. If Lin Yi did not come, and Yu Yi came by himself, how difficult would it be to enter this door? And enter the door. It might not be so easy to see Rocket Launcher. And even if he saw Rocket Launcher, he might not be so enthusiastic. Of course. What Yui didn't know was that Hu Mingyun knew Yushu. If he knew that Yushu was the inheritor, he would probably be just as enthusiastic. Don't worry about him. This old man is annoying, Yushu said. Ah. Rocket Launcher paused. He looked at Lin Yi and asked, This lady is, Grandpa, she is Yushu. She is our inheritor and also Boss Lin Yi's mistress. Hua Shouyun quickly introduced Yushu. He was afraid that his grandpa would be disrespectful to Yushu and make Lin Yi unhappy. Ah. Rocket Launcher paused again and nodded. So it is young hero Lin's mistress, Miss Chin. Sorry for not recognizing you. Don't worry. This is our Fiery Mountain. Treat it like your own home. We are not outsiders. Hua Yun is young hero Lin's follower. If there is anything, let him do it. Haha, then I won't hold back. Yushu was satisfied at least for now. This sect could be said to be Lin Yi's direct subordinates. If she wanted to contact Lin Yi, she could do so at any time. She was not as restrained as Tang Yunsis and Xiao Xiao. Yushu is also from the Hidden House Yu. She just had some misunderstanding with the Hidden House Yu, Lin Yi explained. Yu Yi sent her here this time. Okay, I understand. Rocket Launcher nodded. Okay, everyone. Let's go to the guest room and rest for a while. Tonight, we will host a banquet. How about it? No need. I will go see Yang Shuaijin first. Lin Yi waved his hand. My purpose here is also for Hua Shouyun's brother, Yang Shuaijin. Wouldn't it be too much trouble for young hero Lin? Yang Dingtian burst into tears. He didn't expect Lin Yi to go see Yang Shuaijin right after he arrived. How could he not be touched? Boss, you know me well. Shall we go now? Hua Shouyun and Lin Yi were familiar with each other, so he was more casual. He looked at Lin Yi excitedly. Let's go. You lead the way. Lin Yi said, Mr. Yui, take Yushu to rest for a while. I will come back for the banquet tonight. No problem. Yui nodded. Young hero Lin, don't worry. Lin Yi nodded to Rocket Launcher and Yang Dingtian and followed Hua Shouyun to the cave where Yang Shuaijin was. Although Rocket Launcher and Yang Dingtian wanted to follow, they were the hosts. They couldn't leave Yui and Yushu alone, so they could only give up. The two of them personally led Yui and Yushu to the guest room. The two disciples in red were speechless. They almost offended these guests. It seemed like they had to be more passionate in the future. However, Fiery Mountain didn't have many guests all year round. They had unknowingly developed this arrogant temperament. Yang Shuaijin's corpse was placed in the cave of Fiery Mountain. Because of Yang Shuaijin's fire attribute, it was guaranteed that she would still be alive and wouldn't die immediately. Hua Shoyun carefully opened the sealed stone door and reminded Lin Yi, "It's very hot here." "Boss Lin Yi, you have to be careful." Chapter 3446. First update, recommending the fishman's new book, Ultimate Cultivator. "Oh?" Lin Yi paused. He didn't feel that hot. In fact, they had come to the Hakanamada Desert and entered Flaming Mountain. There was definitely heat, but it didn't feel like it was unbearably hot. Yui was sweating profusely, but Lin Yi and Yushu were fine. It was understandable that Yushu was the inheritor, but Lin Yi, right? Lin Yi was a practitioner of the 5 elements and 7 elements. He had a fire element in his body, so it was reasonable that he wasn't afraid of heat. Lin Yi also had the constitution that these fire element practitioners had, but he was stronger than them, not weaker than them. "It's okay, I have a fire element in my body too." Lin Yi shook his head and quickly entered the cave. Yang Shueijin was lying on a rock in the cave, his face dark and blue, very ugly. If it wasn't for the very weak chi waves, Lin Yi would have thought that he was dead, but that didn't matter. As long as he was still breathing, Lin Yi would be able to heal him. "Protect me, I'll heal him," said Lin Yi. In fact, there was no need for protection in Flaming Mountain. This was Hua Haoyun's territory, but Lin Yi was used to it. "Okay, boss, don't worry. I won't let anyone disturb your treatment," Hua Haoyun said quickly. Lin Yi nodded and sat cross-legged. He used his hand to check Yang Shueijin's pulse, and then activated the art of dragon mastery to heal him. Yang Shueijin's injury was very serious. Even though Lin Yi was now at the perfect 3rd stage of the art of dragon mastery, he still needed some time to heal. Hua Haoyun looked at Lin Yi nervously, although he knew that Lin Yi was confident. But he couldn't relax until he saw Yang Shueijin recover. Time passed, minute by minute, second by second. Lin Yi finally stopped the incantation, and Yang Shueijin's face changed from green to red. Although it was white with a hint of red, it wasn't very healthy, but it was obvious that he was like a normal person, just a little weak. "All right, that's enough." Lin Yi stood up. He should wake up soon. "That's great, boss. Thank you so much. Otherwise, Shueijin wouldn't be able to leave this cave." Hua Haoyun sighed. "It's nothing." Lin Yi waved his hand. "Hua Haoyun, it's our relationship. Don't be so polite." As he said this, Yang Shueijin opened her eyes in a daze. Before she could clearly see her surroundings, she shouted, "The everyday and everyday sect. You're so vicious." The environment of this cave was pretty much the same as the cave in the trial, and Yang Shueijin's memories were still stuck at the moment when she was hit by Naipeo. That was why he subconsciously called out to her. "Shueijin, how are you?" Hua Haoyun heard Yang Shueijin's voice, surprised and happy. He quickly ran over and crouched down. "Ah." Yang Shueijin heard Hua Haoyun's voice. She paused and opened her eyes to see that it was Hua Haoyun in front of her, not Zhang Naipeo. She let out a breath of relief. "It's Haoyun, bro. Why am I here? Didn't I go to the trial?" "Shueijin, the trial is over. You were heavily injured by Zhang Naipeo of the Everyday and Everyday sect, and you only had 1 breath left. In order to keep you alive, my grandpa put you in the cave on Flaming Mountain. That's why you've survived until now," Hua Haoyun explained. "So that's how it is. Yeah, I thought I was going to die." Yang Shueijin nodded, but found it strange. "Then how did I recover? Did you guys find me a 4th level supreme level pill?" "No, it's not that. It's my boss, Master Lin Yi, who saved you." "Shueijin, get up. You have to thank boss for saving you," Hua Haoyun said. "Lin Yi." Yang Shueijin paused. She had an impression of this name. He was the only one who could go against Zhang Naipeo in the trials. But why was he Hua Haoyun's boss now? But Yang Shueijin wasn't an idiot. Someone who could make Hua Haoyun respect him wholeheartedly had to have some skill. and just the fact that he could save her meant that he wasn't a normal person. Yang Shuaijin quickly got up and bowed to Lin Yi. Thank you, Master Lin, for saving me. I'll be like Hu Yun Bro in the future, doing everything I can for you. Haha, there's no need for that as long as you're fine. Lin Yi smiled. In the future, train hard in the sect, and don't get into conflict with people like Zhang Naipeo with your arrogance. I understand. This trial also let me know that there's always someone better out there. Only people like Master Lin can look down on other practitioners. I'm still far from that level. Yang Shuaijin had died once and understood many things. All right, it's time for the banquet. Let's go. Lin Yi nodded. Okay, I feel like I haven't eaten for a long time. I'm a little hungry. Yang Shuaijin was happy. The three of them returned to the living room of Fiery Mountain. Yushu and Yu had already been arranged to rest, but Rocket Launcher and Yang Dingtian heard that Yang Shuaijin had woken up and could walk on his own, as if nothing had happened, and ran over excitedly. Shuaijin, are you all right? Yang Dingtian was so excited that he was shaking. In his mind, Lin Yi could save Yang Shuaijin's life, and he could even make him a cripple, but now he could walk. Yes, Grandpa, not only that, but I still have my strength. This time, I have to thank Master Lin. Yang Shuaijin was also very excited. Master Lin, I don't know what to say. I really can't thank you enough. Yang Dingtian looked at Lin Yi, tears running down his old face, and the gratitude in his heart could no longer be expressed in words. This is what I should do. Hu Yun is my follower, and his friend is in trouble. I can't just ignore it. Lin Yi waved his hand. Ugh, boss, me too. You won't abandon me, will you? Yang Shuaijin quickly said after hearing this. You're following Hu Xianyan, so naturally you're following me. I won't just stand by and watch your matters. Lin Yi smiled. Haha, that's good. Yang Shuaijin heard this and immediately became happy. Chapter 3447. Second update, mobile readers. Please help vote for Top Quality Young Master Cultivator. Although Lin Yi wanted to stay longer with Yushu, Yu Yi had to send Yuning to the endless West Sea after sending her off. Lin Yi also had to say goodbye to Yuning and find little Jiu before heading to Yellow Earth High Sect. In the past, Lin Yi always thought that it would be a while before the inheritors left, but he suddenly realized that it was already right in front of him. Was Sky Class Island about to open? Who knew what was on Sky Class Island? Would he meet Zhang Liju? In that case, would there be experts as common as the clouds? Would he be able to successfully land on Heaven Stage Island? In other words, could the Heaven Stage Island be successfully opened? All of this was unknown. Thinking of this, Lin Yi was a little lost, but for Yu Xiaoka for Armadillo, for those inheritors, Lin Yi had to continue, no matter how difficult the road ahead was. Lin Yi had a feeling that Sky Class Island was the real beginning of his life. After all, he went from the lowest level of a practitioner to the height he was today. Lin Yi looked at the current world of practitioners and felt that the landscape was still too small. Those legendary figures, Lin Yi didn't meet any of them. Fourth level refiner, blacksmith, mender, and so on, as well as those powerful divine weapons. Lin Yi didn't meet any of them, although there were Sky-class masters using Sky-class divine weapons. From what Lin Yi saw, most of them were infused with qi and used with martial arts to achieve a stronger effect. But was a heaven-rank divine weapon only used as a weapon to carry the load? Lin Yi felt that the current divine weapons were still a little lacking, and Shinung Cauldron was a top-level divine weapon. It was just that it was broken, and he didn't know how to repair it. The next morning, Lin Yi said goodbye to Rocket, Yushu, and the others. He was going back to the Hidden House Yu with Yu Yi. On the way back, without Yushu's laughter, Lin Yi and Yu Yi didn't talk at all. And Yu Yi, he really didn't know what to say to Lin Yi. When they were almost at the Hidden House Yu Yi asked, Young Hero Lin, are you coming with me to the Hidden House Yu? Let's go see Xiaoning. After all, she's about to leave, Lin Yi said sadly. All right, young hero Lin. Yu Yi hurriedly nodded. Cars. They drove all the way to the hidden house Yu. With Yu Yi sitting in the car didn't encounter any obstruction and went smoothly. Finally, it stopped at House Yu's parking lot. Yu Yuxing, who had rushed here after hearing the news, was also waiting in the parking lot. This time, Lin Yi's visit was different from the last time. Last time, although Yu Yuxing respected Lin Yi, he was also worried and afraid of the Five Elements sect behind him. So he didn't dare to be too close to Lin Yi. But now, Yuxing had received the news of the Five Elements sect's death. Lin Yi actually killed so many Five Elements sect's disciples, and Elder Xianqin actually endured it. It was clear what this meant. And this time, Yu Yi also reported to Yuxing truthfully about the trip to Fiery Mountain. Yuxing knew that if it wasn't for Lin Yi, Yu Yi wouldn't have been able to complete the mission so smoothly. Young hero Lin, welcome to our hidden house Yu again. Yuxing strode over and personally opened the car door for Lin Yi. Elder Yu, no need to be so polite. With our relationship, you're like my grandfather. I'm too embarrassed to be so polite. Lin Yi quickly stopped Yuxing and said, Xiao Ning, Xiao Shu and I are of the same generation. You can just treat me as a junior in the family. Haha, all right, then I won't be so courteous. But young hero Lin, you don't have to be so courteous either. Just treat this as your own home. Yuxing suddenly paused and said, I heard that Mr. Lin has created a practitioners' union. I wonder if the hidden house you can join? Oh, Lin Yi paused and understood immediately. This was Yuxing's way of showing his goodwill. Yuxing had probably noticed something as well. Currently, in the world of practitioners, there weren't many who could touch Lin Yi. This way, the hidden house, you wouldn't have to worry too much about the Five Element sect. As long as Lin Yi could manage the hidden house Yu, that Elder Xianqin wouldn't dare to do anything unless he wanted all his disciples to die. You can sign up with Ling Shan from the Occult Investigation Department. She'll be in charge of the Occult Investigation Department from now on. She's the vice chairman of the association. She's also the vice chairman of the Investigation Department. All right, I'll remember it. I'll talk to the other hidden houses and sects about it. We'll all join and receive young hero Lin's protection. Yuxing said, All right, I'll have to trouble you then, Elder Yu. Lin Yi naturally wanted the other hidden houses and sects to join the union. But with Lin Yi's current status, it wasn't appropriate for him to ask them to join. Elder Yu is doing this right now. Leave it to me then. Elder Yu nodded and said, Right. Xiao Ning hasn't been in a good mood these 2 days. Young hero Lin, could you go talk to her for a bit? All right, that's why I'm here. Lin Yi replied. Under Yuxing and Yu Yi's lead, Lin Yi came to Yu Ning's room. Yu Ning was sitting quietly in front of the window, deep in thought. She didn't turn around when she heard the footsteps. She only said softly, I'm ready. We can leave for the endless West Sea tomorrow. Xiao Ning, I'm here. Lin Yi walked in quickly, his heart aching. She was the same as Shu, shouldering such an important mission. Although she was the little princess of House Yu and seemed to be stronger than Yushu, in fact, Yushu was right. Yushu was much freer and happier than her. Yu Ning was a bird in a cage, unable to fly out of the cage of House Yu. She had no friends, and she couldn't do what she liked. She spent every day in loneliness. In the past, Lin Yi sympathized with Shu, but at this moment, Lin Yi felt that Yu Ning was the most pitiful one. Ah, Lin Yi, you're here? Yu Ning looked back with some surprise. Her eyes flashed with a hint of surprise. She didn't expect Lin Yi to come again before she left. Yeah, I just sent Shu away, so I came to see you. Lin Yi nodded. Actually, you don't have to be so sad. When the things on Heavenly Island are over, we can come back. No one can control us then. Chapter 30, 448. First update. Recommending Fishman's new book, Ultimate Cultivator, and Yuning heard Lin Yi's words and was suddenly filled with hope. She turned to look at Lin Yi. I've heard a lot about you these days. Now you're even stronger than the ancient people, right? Girls always hoped that their Mr. Right was the best and the strongest, and Yuning was the same. Haha, I'm not that much stronger than them. At least, they can't do anything to me. Lin Yi smiled, so, in the future, you don't have to be afraid. I'll follow you all the way, including when you go to Sky Class Island. Yeah, you have so many wives, all inheritors, of course you have to follow. Yuning glanced at Lin Yi. Most importantly, I still have you, right? Lin Yi smiled as he held Yuning's hand. N. Yuning responded with an inaudible sound. Yu Xing and Yu Yi had already retreated. They believed that nothing would happen between Lin Yi and Yuning. At this moment, Lin Yi was a senior master. In their hearts, he was an existence that they couldn't simply doubt. Lin Yi and Yuning didn't have much to say at this moment. When the two of them were together, they communicated more spiritually than words. It was a feeling and tacit understanding. The two of them stood in front of the window, hand in hand, under the sunset, enjoying the peace of parting. But time flew, and in the blink of an eye, the sun had set. House Yu's banquet had begun. Lin Yi and Yuning appeared in the banquet hall of House Yu, but no one said a word. Even Yu Xiaoqin ignored them. Elder Yu, Uncle Yu. Lin Yi greeted Yu Xing, and Yu Xiaoqin politely. The two of them were flattered, especially Yu Xiaoqin. At this moment, if he could say that Lin Yi was Yu Xiaoqin's son-in-law, then Yu Xiaoqin's status in the world of practitioners would instantly rise. Those ancient masters wouldn't dare provoke him. They'd take a detour. Who wasn't afraid of death? Young hero Lin, you're too polite. Yu Xiaoqian quickly said. Quick, please sit. You're an important guest of the hidden House Yu. I hope that young hero Lin will come visit more often in the future. Even if Ning leaves, this is still your home, isn't it? There's also Shu. Lin Yi paused. Yu Xiaoqin meant that Yuning and Yushu would be with Lin Yi in the future. Of course, it would be after the Sky Class Island project, but at least he wouldn't have any conflict with Lin Yi. Thinking about it, this was actually the reality. Many of these large families prioritized benefits. Now that Lin Yi's reputation could bring them enough benefits, they would naturally have such an attitude. Even if Lin Yi, Yuning, and Yu Shu went to Sky Class Island in the future, there would still be a lot of Lin Yi's people in the common world. Unknowingly, Lin Yi's loyal followers had spread all over the realms, and their strength wasn't any weaker than Lin Yi's. Once those masters left, the world would be theirs. If the hidden house you could ride on this momentum, they'd definitely continue to shine. Yu Xiaoqin didn't even think about the Sky Class Island project. With his strength, it had nothing to do with him. Including Yu Xing, his first thought was to develop House Yu as well. He didn't think about breaking through to the next level, and so they were stuck at the hidden level. At most, they'd wait for Lin Yi to rise, and they'd rise to the ancient level. When that time came, perhaps many years later, they'd have the thought of breaking through to the next level. This was something that they could say and think about at any time. Because of the hidden House Yu's attention, this meal was joyous and harmonious, and Yuning was very happy. Her father, Yu Xiaoqin, had finally given her a clear answer. In the past, Yuning didn't care about others but Yu Shu. Ever since she found out that Yu Shu was her sister, she'd been worried. It was normal for a practitioner like this to have multiple wives and concubines, so it wasn't surprising. However, for a pair of sisters to marry the same person at the same time was a bit unrealistic, and the families usually wouldn't do that in order to maximize their benefits. But now, it seemed that the family valued Lin Yi's strong charisma, and no one could be compared to him. So the hidden house Yu made the final decision. Happy times were always short-lived. Tomorrow morning, Yuning and Yu Yi would head to the endless West Sea, and Lin Yi couldn't go there. First, he didn't know anyone, and second, he had to send 2 Ranran back to Huang Tugao sect. After saying goodbye to Yuning, Lin Yi also drove back to Donghai City. On the way, Lin Yi called Bai Weituo again, but on the other side of the phone it was still turned off. Lin Yi was a bit puzzled. The phones nowadays could be used for roaming, and even if he was overseas, the original number should still be able to receive calls. Even if the phone ran out of battery and was turned off, why was it still turned off? Could it be that there was a problem? But Bai Weituo was just going for a vacation. What problem could there be? In fact, what Lin Yi didn't know was that Bai Weituo and his group really had a problem. Bai Weituo and Himeiwe went for a vacation, and Zhang Duopan and Fan Ganha, who got the news, also followed. Zhang Duopan had been pursuing Himeiwe, and even if Bai Weituo and Himeiwe went out for a vacation, he also followed. His purpose was to prevent Bai Weituo and Himeiwe from taking a step further. Because everyone was classmates, Zhang Duopan pretended to meet them at the airport, and he proposed to travel with Bai Weituo. In fact, he just found someone to check the airline records, and he knew that Bai Weituo and Himeiwe were on the same flight. Although Bai Weituo was unwilling, even if he was unwilling, they were on the same flight, and he couldn't chase them away. What's more, they were all classmates outside, so he couldn't go overboard. After all, Zhang Duopan said it in a dignified manner, and everyone met by chance, so they should travel together, and they could take care of each other. You should rely on your classmates when you're out. In front of her classmates, Himeiwe didn't agree to share a room with Bai Weituo, which made Bai Weituo somewhat disappointed. Zhang Duopan and Fan Ganha also stayed in the same hotel. Therefore, the four people traveled together every day, and it was quite harmonious, and there were no fights. Zhang Duopan probably saw it clearly, and what he had to do at this time was to prevent Bai Weituo and Himeiwe from taking a step further, and he had to improve his image and competitiveness in Himeiwe's eyes. Chapter 3449. In Southeast Asia, there were many formal and luxurious casinos, so Bai Weituo and Himeiwe didn't refuse. After all, it was a worthwhile trip. Originally, Bai Weituo didn't want to go, but he couldn't resist the constant persuasion of the two. If he didn't go, Bai Weituo couldn't do anything. He couldn't even do anything private with Himeiwe. These two were stuck in their room like gummies. Anyway, they would bring them here and there every day. They would eat supper and play cards until late at night. They didn't give Bai Weituo any chance. In fact, Bai Weituo also understood their intentions and thoughts, but they didn't say it clearly. They had a tacit understanding, and Bai Weituo couldn't say anything about this kind of thing. Since they followed, this situation was inevitable. Therefore, Bai Weituo agreed to go to the casino to take a look. Anyway, the benefit was that the expenses were borne by Zhang Duopan. Bai Weituo was a poor student, and boss Bai wouldn't give him much pocket money. Therefore, Bai Weituo was happy to see Zhang Duopan spending the money. Yomiao Casino was a relatively large casino nearby. It was opened in the past 10 years, so the decoration was quite luxurious. The four took a taxi from the hotel to Yomiao Casino. However, the clothes of the four guests looked like tourists, so the waiters quickly received them. The four of you are here for a tour. Are you here to play or to satisfy your craving? If you want to satisfy your craving, I suggest you play with the corner machines on the first floor. The waiter introduced enthusiastically, and we're here for a tour. However, we don't lack money. Give me more chips, said Zhang Duopan. Okay, no problem, but please show your identification, such as your passport or your local ID card. I want to register your age. According to the regulations, we will be punished if we enter the casino as minors, said the waiter. Oh, so troublesome. Zhang Duopan took out his student ID card. Fortunately, his student ID card was always in his wallet. His passport was in the hotel. Then he said, "The four of us are all classmates. Is it fine to check one?" "That's fine too." The waiter nodded. As long as these people were really adults, there wouldn't be a problem. In fact, there were people checking every day. It was just in case. Then give us chips. Zhang Duopan took out a credit card. Yes, sir, the waiter said. The four of them took the exchange chips and went into play. On the other side, a man in the monitoring room looked at the synchronized registration information on the computer. His eyes suddenly lit up, and then he quickly picked up the phone and dialed a number. Tu phone, what's the matter? A vigorous and forceful voice rang out. Hello, Faction Master Cohen. I've followed your instructions and kept an eye on the guests from East Ocean City. There are 4 guests today, and one of them is from East Ocean City. Tu Fong was the person in charge of this casino and the backbone of Right Seedling Sect. The Right Meow Sect was a very large local gang, and the Right Meow Casino was naturally the Right Meow Sect's business. The sect leader was called Kuan Siyuan. In his early years, he was the subordinate of a high priest in the Miaojiang region. He learned some goose spells and evil mental cultivation methods. After the high priest fell from power, he escaped to Southeast Asia and founded the Right Meow Sect. However, one of his disciples, Park Hua-ti, had gone to East Ocean City to train, and there was no news of him after that. After waiting for a long time, Kuan Siyuan didn't return. Subconsciously, Kuan Siyuan felt that something must have happened. However, the high priest was killed by the people from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, and the Bureau still had Kuan Siyuan's arrest warrant. Therefore, Kuan Siyuan didn't dare to return to Huaxia in private, afraid that the Bureau would deal with him. But there was no such thing as an airtight wall in this world. Plus, it wasn't like no one knew that Lin Yi had killed Pu Huati, at least in the casino. In the end, the news still reached Kuan Siyuan's ears. Moreover, he already knew that the person who killed Park Huati was Lin Yi, a student of East Ocean Industry University. Therefore, he asked his people to keep an eye on the guests from East Ocean City, especially the students of East Ocean Industry University. If they saw them, they would immediately capture them and find out more about the situation. If they were acquaintances with Lin Yi, they could lure Lin Yi to Southeast Asia and kill Lin Yi in one fell swoop. Oh, really? Then, are they in contact with East Ocean Industry University? Kuan Siyuan asked immediately. What a coincidence. That guy named Zhang Duopan is a first-year student of East Ocean Industry University. Maybe he knows the guy named Lin Yi. Tu Fong said, Okay, go and find out. If they know Lin Yi, capture them immediately. Kuan Siyuan ordered. Yes. Tu Fong replied immediately. After hanging up the phone, Tu Fong went straight downstairs. At this time, the waiters and waitresses saw him and greeted him. However, Tu Fong waved his hand and signaled them to be quiet. He followed the surveillance cameras and easily found Zhang Duopan and the other 3 people. Bet on 32. This 32 will definitely win. Tu Fong said to Zhang Duopan, who was playing roulette. Really? Zhang Duopan was stunned when he heard someone talking to him. Of course, I play here often. Tu Fong smiled. I think you guys are also from Huaxia, right? Me too, hee hee. Really? I see. Then I'll listen to you this time. Although Zhang Duopan bet 32, he was just playing for fun and didn't know anything about probability. Since someone said so, he would just give them face. Otherwise, he would just bet randomly. However, what Zhang Duopan did not expect was that the final number on the roulette wheel was actually 32. Haha, what do you think? Am I right? Tu Fong smiled lightly. Yes. Zhang Duopan was overjoyed. Brother, are you the god of gamblers? Why don't you tell me what I should bet on to win the next round? Let me calculate this round. Tu Fong pretended to be mysterious and pondered for a while. Then he said, 27 lines. Okay, I'll listen to you. 27. Zhang Duopan bet 27, but this time he put in more chips. These things were child's play to Tu Fong. He could make his subordinates in the monitoring room change the data with just a few words. So, whatever he said was the law. The reason why he was so patient with Zhang Duopan was that he didn't want to catch anyone in the casino. Chapter 3450. 27, 27, 27. Zhang Duopan didn't expect it to be 27 again, which meant that he won again. He looked at Tu Feng with surprise and said, "Big brother, you're really good. Aren't you invincible in this casino?" "Shoo, I'll tell you a secret. I'm actually a consultant in the casino, which is what you call a high-level dealer. I can't gamble." Tu Feng laughed softly. "I saw that you're from the same country, so I talked to you a little more." "I see. Big brother, aren't you very good?" Consultants are usually the best gamblers in the casino. Zhang Duopan had seen a few movies about casinos, so he naturally knew what a consultant was. "It's all right. By the way, where are you from?" Tu Feng pretended to be nonchalant and asked. "I'm currently studying in Donghai City." "Donghai City, have you heard of it?" "It's a capital city in the north," Zhang Duopan said. "Of course I've heard of it. I have a friend there," Tu Feng said. "Friend? Really? What a coincidence. Big brother, what's your friend's name? I might even know him." Zhang Duopan purposely tried to get close to Tu Feng. His purpose was to get some pointers from Tu Feng so that he could enjoy being the god of gamblers. "His name is Lin Yi. He's very good at kung fu. Have you heard of him?" Tu Feng said casually. "What? Linny?" Zhang Duopan's eyes widened. However, he thought that it might be the same name, so he asked, "What does this Lin Yi do?" "I know someone, but I'm not sure if it's the same person." "The Lin Yi I know is a first-year student at Donghai Industry University," Tu Feng said. "Oh yeah, brother, which school are you studying at? Have you heard of it?" "Donghai Industry University? A first-year student?" Zhang Duopan was now completely convinced that this Lin Yi was the Lin Yi he knew. He was surprised and happy. "Big brother, I'm studying at this school. I know the Lin you're talking about. He's my classmate and we're quite close. Do you see that person over there? Bai Weitua is Lin Yi's little brother. They're roommates." "Oh." Tu Feng's eyes flashed with a hint of joy. It really didn't take any effort at all. Previously, he was still worried that if an ordinary student was kidnapped here, would Lin Yi be forced to come here? Now that this was Lin Yi's dormitory underling, Lin Yi had no choice but to come. Thinking of this, Tu Feng said, "That's really fate. Why don't you all come to my office and have a seat? I have to entertain the friends of my friends. I'll treat you all to a meal and then show you the VIP casino upstairs. It will definitely be an eye-opener for you." "That's great. I'll have to trouble you, big brother. I'll go call them." Zhang Duopan was overjoyed. This was like a pie falling from the sky. He originally hated Lin Yi, but now that he could use Lin Yi's name to eat, drink, and receive VIP treatment, he was naturally happy not to say anything. "Okay, I'll wait for you here." Tu Feng nodded. Therefore, Zhang Duopan quickly walked towards Bai Weitua. Bai Weitua wasn't a gambler. He was just here to see the fun. If he really wanted to gamble, he would just try it out. He didn't play much. There were still a lot of chips left in his hand. When he saw Zhang Duopan walking over, he nodded. "How was it? Did you win?" "Haha, I won a small amount, but I got to know a master." Zhang Duopan said proudly, "He's the consultant of this casino. He's also the highest level dealer. Guess what? He's actually from our side, and he's good friends with Lin Yi. We got to know each other after chatting. He invited us to his office to eat, and then show us the VIP room upstairs." "Ah, there's such a good thing." Bai Weitua subconsciously thought that it was a scam. Could it be a trap to make them lose money? "I don't doubt it. He asked me where I was from, and I said I went to Donghai. He took the initiative to ask me if I knew Lin Yi. I didn't say it at all." Zhang Duopan saw Bai Weitua's hesitation, so he waved his hand and said, "Do you think he's a godly mathematician? How could he know Lin Yi?" "Don't worry. There's definitely no problem." "Is that so?" Bai Weitua listened to Zhang Duopan's explanation, and he was relieved. It wasn't a trap, but they really knew each other. That was great. Bai Weitua also knew that Lin Yi had a wide range of connections. It wasn't surprising that he knew someone here. So he turned his head and looked at Himeiwe. Let's go take a look then. Hearing about Lin Yi, Himeiwe's heart moved, and she nodded in agreement. Since Himeiwe agreed, Bai Weitua didn't have any reason to refuse. So he followed Zhang Duopan to the casino. At this time, Tu Feng arranged things again, and the waiter beside him also began to greet him. Consultant 2, then I'll go first. A man in a dealer costume greeted Zhang Duopan and the others after they came over. You go first. It doesn't matter that I won some money from a small fight. Our casino is open for business, and it's important to be honest. I can't come out and find trouble with others just because they won some money. This is not in line with the rules. Tu Feng waved his hand and said, Big brother, are you busy? Zhang Duopan walked over and asked. Seeing Zhang Duopan and Bai Weitua coming over, Tu Feng smiled and explained, It's nothing. A new dealer saw a customer winning millions, so he came to find me. In fact, it's not a big deal. Let's go, I'll bring you upstairs. With the previous dealer's conversation, Bai Weitua no longer had any doubts. In fact, Tu Feng was really from this casino, but he wasn't a senior consultant. He was just the person in charge. However, it was impossible for a person in charge of a casino to come to the first floor for no reason. It wasn't realistic, so he installed the title of a consultant for himself. Fan Ganha was nearby, and he was caught by Zhang Duopan. They introduced themselves and followed Tu Feng upstairs. Along the way, there were many people who respectfully called Mr. Tuesday. The four of them followed Tu Feng into a high-class, luxurious office. The four of them no longer had any doubts. However, when they entered the office and Tu Feng closed the door, he was suddenly restrained by four black-shirt men in the room. His hands and feet were tied and thrown on the sofa. Chapter 3451. Bai Weitua took a deep breath. He'd felt that there was a problem before, but Zhang Duopan said that Tu Feng was the one who brought up Lin Yi, and later things proved that this Tu Feng really was the casino's high-level consultant. But now, it seemed that he'd made a mistake. In other words, this person was from the casino, but his purpose was not pure. I'm just a few poor students. I don't have much money. It's useless even if you kidnap us. Fan Ganha shouted, There's so many big bosses here. Why didn't you kidnap them? Why did you kidnap us? Shut up. Tu Feng glared at Fan Ganha coldly and said, If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for knowing Lin Yi. I have a grudge against Lin Yi. In order to attract him here, I can only use you as bait. Tu Feng didn't need to hide it. Anyway, he had already captured them. What was the point of hiding? Zhang Duopan was stunned. He didn't expect this to be the reason. It turned out that Tu Feng and Lin Yi weren't friends, but enemies. If he had known this earlier, he wouldn't have been so stupid to get close to Tu Feng. He would have quickly drawn a clear line between them. Tu Feng wanted to take revenge on Lin Yi and implicated him. Brother, I lied to you just now. In fact, Lin Yi and I are enemies. If you capture me, Lin Yi will be even happier. He won't come here at all. Zhang Duopan said quickly. Didn't you say that he is Lin Yi's little brother and that he shares the same dorm with Lin Yi? Why are you two enemies now? Tu Feng sneered. He is indeed Lin Yi's little brother, and we share the same dorm. But I'm not. My relationship with Lin Yi is very bad. I hate him to death. Zhang Duopan said. Do you think I'll believe you? You and Lin Yi are sworn enemies, and he's Lin Yi's underling. Who do you think you're trying to fool? Tu Feng looked at Zhang Duopan mockingly. This, I'll be honest. Bai Weitua and I, who is Lin Yi's underling, are both pursuing a girl. That's why we came out together. There's no other relationship. We are actually rivals in love. Zhang Duopan said. Oh, so what? Tu Feng asked. Big brother, you can let me go. You just need to detain that Bai Weitua. He's the most important. If you detain him, Lin Yi will definitely come. I'm not lying. Zhang Duopan quickly said. And then let you go? Tu Feng asked. That's right. Zhang Duo nodded. Then you'll call the police and we'll all be doomed, right? Tu Feng said indifferently. How is that possible? How can I call the police? I can't wait for Bai Weitua to die. Zhang Duopan said. Don't you like this girl? She's also detained. Can you not call the police to save her? Don't you know how to be a hero and save the beauty? Tu Feng asked. Why don't you let her go too? Just detain Bai Weitua. Zhang Duopan said. I see that she treats Bai Weitua better than you. If I'm not wrong, she and Bai Weitua are now in a relationship, right? If I let her go, will she not save Bai Weitua? Tu Feng sneered. All right, don't do such useless things. Just stay here. I won't do anything to you. Our boss's target is Lin Yi. After that, Tu Feng said to the 4 macho men, lock them in the room. Give them food regularly. Don't worry about them at other times. Yes, Mr. Tu. The 4 macho men quickly responded. Then, each of them grabbed one person and threw Bai Weitua and the other into the room of the office. Bang! The door was locked. Damn, Bai Weitua, it's all because of your boss. Otherwise, how could we be arrested? Zhang Duopan complained in frustration. You're still scolding me? If you didn't show off and say that Boss Lin Yi is your friend, would it be like this? Bai Weitua said angrily. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself. Don't talk about others. All right, stop arguing. The most important thing is not to quarrel, but what should we do? Himewa frowned and said, I don't know. Can Lin Yi come to save us? Boss Lin Yi should be able to come. But these people are obviously prepared. I don't know if there will be any danger. Bai Weitua smiled bitterly and said, We really know how to cause trouble. We just came out to play and cause such a big trouble. There's no other way. We can only wait. Himewa persuaded. But Lin Yi is so powerful. There should be no problem. I hope so. Bai Weitua sighed. Listening to the conversation between the two, Zhang Duopan and Fan Ganha were relieved. Fortunately, Bai Weitua was here. Lin Yi would definitely come. When Lin Yi came, they would be useless. He would definitely let them go, but they would be locked up for a while. After Tu Feng left, he went to report to Sect Master Kun Siyuan. He told Sect Master Kun that these people were Lin Yi's classmates. Sect Master Kun was very excited and immediately dialed Lin Yi's phone number. Lin Yi's phone number wasn't a secret. He had already inquired about it, but he didn't call it. There was no reason. If he rashly said that he wanted to find trouble and asked Lin Yi to come to Southeast Asia, then Lin Yi couldn't come either. Lin Yi didn't have any problems. If you want to find trouble, do it yourself. Why ask someone to come to your door? How sick are you? Is this Lin Yi? After the phone was dialed, Kun Siyuan said, That's me. You are. Looking at the unfamiliar number and listening to the unfamiliar voice, Lin Yi didn't know who the other party was. Let me introduce myself. I'm Southeast Asia's Right Meow Sex Sect Master. My name is Kun Siyuan. Kun Siyuan laughed and said, Do you know Pu Huati? I wonder if you still remember him. Pu Huati? Lin Yi frowned slightly and his heart skipped a beat. Of course, Lin Yi had an impression of this person. Back then, he was the one who colluded with the hidden Zhao family to trick Qin Shi. He wanted to harm Qin Shi, but Lin Yi killed him. And the owner of this phone, what was he going to do? Lin Yi said calmly, So what if I do? So what if I don't? Pu Huati is a disciple of my Right Meow sect. You killed him. Don't you think I, as the sect master, should get back at him? Kun Siyuan said lightly, Come to Southeast Asia now. I'll wait for you here. You want me to go? I don't have time. Lin Yi thought to himself that this person must have a problem. If he wants me to go, I'll go. I still have things to do. If you want to find trouble, do it yourself. If I'm not home, you can wait at my door. Chapter 3452. First update. Asking for votes. Recommending Fishman's new book, Ultimate Young Master Cultivator. I'm afraid they won't be able to return anytime soon. Come and pick them up when you have time. Kuan Siwen said, and was about to hang up. Okay, I won't bother you anymore. Goodbye, Mr. Lin Yi. Wait, what classmate? Lin Yi heard Kuan Siwen's words and immediately thought of Bai Weitoa. He quickly asked, speak clearly, aren't your classmates here on vacation? I think they're called Zhang Duopan and Bai Weitoa. If you're not coming to pick them up, let them play here first. They won't starve to death anyway. Kuan Siyuan said. Tell me the address and I'll come to you. Lin Yi took a deep breath. But before I get there, you have to ensure their safety. That's no problem. Our sect has its own rules. We won't involve ordinary people. You're a cultivator. We're looking for you. Kuan Siwen said faintly, I'll send my address to your phone later. Come as soon as possible. Okay. Lin Yi nodded and agreed. Then I'll wait for Mr. Lin's arrival. Don't go back now that you're here. Ha ha. Kuan Siwen laughed and hung up. Lin Yi looked at his phone and frowned. He wanted to go directly to the X island where he trained when he was young and bring little Nine to the Yellow Soil High Sect. But it seemed like plans couldn't keep up with the changes. He had to go to Southeast Asia first. With Bai Weituo in trouble, Lin Yi had to inform Boss Bai. So he decided to return to Donghai City first and make a decision later. Since Kuan Siyuan wanted to use Bai Weituo to lure him to Southeast Asia's Right Meow sect, there shouldn't be any problems before he went. Lin Yi was relieved. The car drove all the way and finally stopped in front of his Donghai City mansion. It was evening now. Wang Xinyan should be at home. Judging from the bright lights in the living room, it should be so. Lin Yi opened the door and walked in. Wang Xinyan was indeed at home, but there were two people in the living room that surprised Lin Yi. Boss, you're back. Gooden stood up from the sofa happily and ran over to give Lin Yi a bear hug. Yu Yuan, who was beside him, also stood up and greeted Lin Yi shyly. Gooden, why are you two here? Lin Yi looked at Gooden, pleasantly surprised. He didn't think that Gooden would be able to find the villa in Donghai, but it was probably old Lin who told him. It's the autumn harvest, so there's nothing to do. I've dried some meat, and Yuan wanted to come back for a walk too, so we came over. We brought some meat for you, boss. Didn't you like my meat the most? Gooden said. Gooden, you're really considerate. Lin Yi didn't think that Gooden would still remember this. He was touched. Although this was just a small matter in life, it showed that Gooden really cared about him. He made the meat and even brought it over personally. It's nothing. Yuan also wanted to go out for a walk. West Star Mountain is too small. She's a girl from the city. How could she stay there all the time? Gooden smiled. But speaking of which, your way of speaking has become much more standard. Last time, you would say I or something. Yuan corrected you, right? Lin Yi smiled. Yeah, she taught me how to speak Mandarin. Gooden scratched his head honestly, but this also showed how much he cared about Yuan. What's the arrangement between you two? Lin Yi got a headache just thinking about it. He was planning to go to Southeast Asia immediately after coming back, but now that Gooden was here, he had to welcome him. But Bai Weituo couldn't just not save him, so Lin Yi was in a difficult position. It's nothing. Yuan just wanted to go around. Gooden said, I promised her that I'd bring her on a honeymoon after we get married, but I've been busy and didn't have time. Now that I finally have time, I want to see where we can go. Why don't you two come with me to Southeast Asia? Lin Yi suddenly had an idea. Southeast Asia was a good place to visit. Gooden didn't have a destination anyway, so it didn't matter where he went. Lin Yi could save by Wei-Tuo and welcome Gooden at the same time. It was killing two birds with one stone. That's fine, but Gooden was a little short on money. He hunted for a living, and most of his money was used to support his family. His savings were limited. Lin Yi and Gooden had known each other for so many years. How could he not know what he was thinking? He smiled. You're my guest. How could I let you spend money? All the expenses are on me. If you don't want to, then leave immediately. Take your meat with you, I don't want it. All right then. Gooden didn't bother being polite with Lin Yi. He knew from Lin Yi's words that Lin Yi really didn't care about stuff like that. If he didn't accept Lin Yi's kindness, then Lin Yi would really get angry. Boss, I'm really sorry for making you spend money. Yuan followed Gooden's lead and called Lin Yi. In the countryside, the eldest child of the housekeeper would also be called boss, meaning big brother. Xinyan arranged their lodgings first. I'll go to teacher Bai's for a bit. Lin Yi said to Xinyan, Okay, go. Don't worry about me, I'll be fine. Xinyan shook her head. Lin Yi didn't say anything else and went straight to Boss Bai's place. Boss Bai was a little surprised at Lin Yi's visit. So late. Lily, you're back. Yeah, I just finished my business over there, so I came back to see, Lin Yi said. Master, there's something I've been thinking about, and I still need to tell you. Oh, what is it? Come in. Boss Bai waved his hand and signaled for Lin Yi to come in. Exa, look who's here. Guan Exian walked out and was surprised to see Lin Yi. Lin Yi, you're here. Do you need me to cook? Haha, it's okay, it's too late, you don't need to cook. I'm here because I have something to talk to Master about, Lin Yi said. Go do what you need to do. Ah, I see. Guan Exian was a little disappointed. After all, Lin Yi wasn't here for her. She lowered her head and prepared to go back to her herbs. These days she had been slowly learning from the herbs, and she believed that she would succeed soon. Chapter 3453. Master, I didn't. Guan Exian blushed. Master, this is not the time to joke. I really have something to do. Lin Yi smiled bitterly and said, Xin, don't think too much. It's by Wei-Tuo. Didn't he go to Southeast Asia? In the end, he was detained. Ah, Guan Exian was shocked. It turned out that it was not that Lin Yi didn't care about her, but there was something more important. At this moment, Guan Exian's mood was a lot better. She was not as disappointed as before. She quickly asked, What happened? How could he be detained? Although Boss Bai was not as shocked as Guan Exian, he also frowned slightly and looked at Lin Yi. Why? What did he do? The other party is from the Right Miao clan. One of their disciples caused trouble in the casino here and was killed by me. Lin Yi said, I don't know why, but by Wei-Tuo and the others may have been found out by them to be my friends. Maybe we are very close, so they imprisoned by Wei-Tuo and asked me to go over. However, I think they are targeting me. They probably won't do anything to Bai Wei-Tuo. This brat, why did he go out and talk nonsense? Doesn't he know that trouble comes from a loose tongue? If he didn't say it, who would know that you two are related? Boss Bai couldn't help but be angry after hearing it. When this brat comes back, I will teach him a lesson. He caused trouble at the critical moment. Lin Yi didn't expect Boss Bai to be not worried but angry after hearing it. He couldn't help but smile bitterly and said, It's not his fault. It's my fault for offending the Right Miao clan. You can't blame anyone for this. I have an impression of the Right Miao clan disciple you mentioned. You mentioned him to me before, right? His name is Pu Huati or something. Boss Bai waved his hand and said, Even if it was me, I would have killed him if I had the ability to. What does this have to do with you? I'm just angry that Bai Wei-Tuo can't help me at all. All he knows is to go out and cause trouble. Master, don't talk about Bai Wei-Tuo. He has a girlfriend. It's impossible for him to go out and play. He's a young man. Lin Yi quickly explained. Aren't you also a young man? Why don't you go and play? Boss Bai snorted. I'm not optimistic about Himeiwe either. She's too narrow-minded, and Bai Weitua is too honest. I'm afraid that they will suffer losses in the future. Lin Yi didn't expect that Boss Bai also found that Himeiwe was a bit cunning, but he couldn't say anything about this kind of thing, so he could only say, forget it. Bai Weitua is not young anymore. He has his own choice, and he knows it's right and wrong. That's why I didn't interfere. I hope that girl will put her mind to the right place. Boss Bai waved his hand and said, by the way, you know about the Heaven Stage trial, right? Ancestor Xianqin called earlier and told me about this. I wanted to let you go, but he specifically asked for an inheritor, Guan Xian. Plus, there's only one spot for each sect, and we're not even a sect yet. The only reason we're letting Guan Xian go is because she's an inheritor, so you're in a lot of trouble. If you don't participate in the trials, you won't even have the chance to go to the island. Oh, that's it. Lin Yi hurriedly said, Master, you don't have to worry about it. Even if we don't have a spot, there are other ways to go. I have the incomplete map of the Heaven Stage Island. Oh, so you have that thing. Boss Bai was enlightened, and after hearing Lin Yi's words, he was relieved. If Lin Yi had the incomplete map of the Heaven Stage Island, then in theory, he could participate in the trials of the Heaven Stage. According to the original agreement, if the incomplete map was obtained by a rogue cultivator, then he could participate in the trials of the Heaven Stage unconditionally. If it was obtained by a disciple of a sect or family, as long as the family didn't object or didn't send another disciple to replace him, then that person could also participate in the trials of the Heaven Stage smoothly. Now, even if Lin Yi wasn't a rogue cultivator, he was still Boss Bai's disciple. As long as Boss Bai didn't object, Lin Yi could still participate in the trials of the Heaven Stage. I got it a long time ago, but I didn't know what to use it for. I didn't expect it to come in handy now. Lin Yi nodded and said, then let's do this for now. It's getting late, I'm going back. Early tomorrow morning, I'm going to Southeast Asia to rescue Bai Weitua. Be careful, I've heard of the Right Miao clan. It seems to be a remnant of the Miaojiang. I don't know how strong he is now, but he shouldn't be underestimated. Boss Bai reminded, don't underestimate him. Although Bai Weitua is my grandson, you are also my disciple. In my heart, the identity of a disciple is the same as that of a grandson. I don't want one to get hurt or die because of the other. If you can't do it, don't force yourself. This is a disaster that he caused, so he should bear it himself. Who asked him to go out and talk so much? I understand. Don't worry, I don't care about a mere Right Miao clan. Although Lin Yi said it casually, his heart was still beating like a drum. That was because the Right Miao clan was obviously different from normal cultivation sections. It was a sect that started with evil arts. What they were good at was different from normal cultivation. Lin Yi didn't know if he had the advantage to win. Lin Yi. Guan Xian saw that Lin Yi was about to leave, and she suddenly became anxious. She stomped her feet and said to Lin Yi, can you come here for a while? I have something to talk to you about. Oh? Lin Yi was slightly stunned, and then he nodded and said, of course, no problem. Boss Bai was also a little curious about what Guan Xian wanted to say to Lin Yi, but he wasn't that nosy. He stood up and said, you guys talk, I'm going to wash up and rest. With that, Boss Bai left the living room and went to the bathroom. Lin Yi, do you like me? Guan Xian suddenly opened her mouth and looked straight at Lin Yi. This time, she was bolder than anyone else, unlike her usual shyness. Lin Yi was stunned by Guan Xian's sudden question. Why would the usually reserved Guan Xian suddenly ask this? However, although Lin Yi was a little confused, he still nodded and said, I like it. Chapter 3454. One update every weekend. 2 updates every Monday. Please vote. It was as if Guan Xan was talking to herself as she recounted everything that had happened between her and Lin Yi in detail. There were some details that he'd forgotten, but Guan Xan still remembered them so vividly. If Guan Xan didn't say it out loud, Lin Yi wouldn't have known that he was so important in her heart. Lin Yi listened to Guan Xan's heartfelt outburst. He liked Guan Xan, but it was just a normal kind of liking. It wasn't to the point where he loved Guan Xan to the point where he loved her to death. Guan Xan's sudden confession made Lin Yi feel like he couldn't accept it. Should he accept it or not? But now it seemed like he couldn't reject it. Lin Yi had always been passive in his relationships. His relationships with girls were more like a natural process. Facing Guan Xan now, Lin Yi couldn't say that he didn't like her, but it was still a bit far from being her boyfriend. Master told me that I'm going to become an inheritor of the wood element and open the island. It's a dangerous mission, and I'm afraid that I won't be able to see you again. So I have to tell you this today. Guan Xan let out a long sigh of relief as she finished her story. Guan Xan was the inheritor of the wood element? Lin Yi had heard Boss Bai reveal a bit about it before, but he didn't say it for sure. But today both of them confirmed it, so it must be true. He really didn't think that the inheritor of the wood element was Guan Xan. Didn't this mean that other than Elder Tang of the Snowy Valley, all the other inheritors were related to him? This gave Lin Yi a headache. Was this a coincidence? Or was this the will of the heavens? Or could it be said that coming to Songshan City was a trap set up by someone with ulterior motives? Lin Yi wasn't sure. The mission that could feed him for the rest of his life allowed Lin Yi to walk step by step to where he was now. Was old Lin in the know? Lin Yi didn't know, and no one told him. The only thing he knew was that he had to keep going, regardless of whether it was a trap or not. He could not stop moving forward. The Sky Class Island Plan. Actually, Xan, you should know that the people beside me, Meng Yao, Yushu, and Xiao Xiao, as well as Yuning and Little Nine, who you don't know, they're all inheritors, so I have to follow them all the way. Otherwise, I don't know what will happen, and I won't be at ease. Since you're also an inheritor, then let's go together. Lin Yi comforted with a smile. Ah, these inheritors. You know all of them? Guan Xan's expression changed. Naturally, she knew that Xiao Xiao and Tang Yin were inheritors, but she didn't know that Meng Yao and Yushu were inheritors too. Moreover, Yuning and Little Nine Lin Yi also knew each other. What was their relationship? They should be very close, right? This way, they were all inheritors and they were all connected to Lin Yi. Guan Xan let out a breath of relief. She would not become a little lonely just because she was a special case. But Lin Yi probably didn't know about Tang Yin yet. He'd probably be even more shocked if he did. All the inheritors were connected to him. This was too much of a coincidence. Yeah, other than Shuegu's inheritor, I'm not really familiar with them. Of course, it's not our relationship. The other inheritors, more or less. You know. Lin Yi said awkwardly. Shuegu wasn't a Tang Yin? Guan Xan couldn't help but chuckle. She's your first girlfriend. A real girlfriend. Okay, then I don't have to worry. Guan Xan nodded. There's one more thing I didn't want to say, but you gave me hope for the Sky Class Island Plan. Maybe I can really come back alive, so I have to say it now. What is it? Lin Yi paused. He couldn't think of anything that Guan Xan cared so much about. It didn't seem to have anything to do with training or inheritors. It's like this. My dad arranged a marriage for me when I was young, and there wasn't any news about it, but suddenly he told me that there was news, and he told me to prepare to meet the fiancé. Guan Xan said, troubled. I've never met him, and I don't like him. It's fine if I don't know you, but now the person I like is you, and my dad wants me to meet him. What should I do? Sweat. Lin Yi didn't think that Guan Xan's father would be so serious about the marriage. He thought that it was something out of the question, and now he brought it up again. But this was their family business, and House Guan didn't want anything. They wouldn't fight for the position and ranking of the hidden houses. They wouldn't change Guan, Xian, and Lin Yi just for benefits. This was completely different from the hidden House Yu. If House Guan was the same as House Yu, then Lin Yi was confident that he could handle this, but it was different. Guan Xiaoxiang's goal was different from the hidden House Yu, and with his relationship with Guan Shuamin, Lin Yi couldn't force Guan Xiaoxiang. This was indeed a headache, but Lin Yi thought about it and said, "Right, aren't you the best at making horrible food and scaring your future blind date away? You can try it this time." Lin Yi had fallen into this trap a couple of times, and he thought of this plan in no time. "I've thought about it, but my dad said that we'll meet at a restaurant, and he wouldn't give me a chance to show off my cooking." Guan Xian sighed helplessly. "My dad was probably afraid that I'd do this, so he purposely set the meeting place at a restaurant." Lin Yi thought about it and realized that it was true. He'd used this trick many times, and Guan Xiaoxiang would naturally notice it. This time he wouldn't be able to use it, but Lin Yi was the one suffering. "It seems like I'm the unlucky one." Lin Yi thought about it and said, "Who is this person?" "I heard that he's the heir of the person who helped my dad before, but I don't know who he is, and I've never seen him before. I don't even know his name." Guan Xian said, "If I know his hobbies and interests, I'll do something different, and he won't like me anymore. But I don't know what he's like, so it's hard to act according to the situation. Why don't you prepare according to common sense, like what kind of girl a guy doesn't like, and you dress in that direction?" Lin Yi thought about it and suggested, for example, dress up like a slut, and then talk about one-night stands every time you open your mouth, or say that you're pregnant. Chapter 3455. She opened her eyes wide, her face blushing as she stared at Lin Yi. I can't say that out loud. If you don't describe yourself like that, you won't be able to cancel the engagement." Lin Yi said, "I don't know about other things, but normally normal men wouldn't be able to accept being cuckolded and being a father. If you do this, no matter what her interests are, you'll be out. From their perspective, it's okay to play with this kind of woman. But if they really marry her, they'll be out. Well, will it really work?" Guan Xian thought about it, and it was true. It was just that she had to dress up like a slut and say shameless things like that. It was a bit difficult for her. "Yes, Shenzhou, I think it'll work." Lin Yi nodded. Then, "Let me think." Guan Xian felt that it was doable, but it was a bit hard to do. "And if there's anything you need help with, just tell me. I'll do my best to help." Lin Yi said, "If they ask me who the child is, I'll say it's yours?" Guan Xian thought about it. "That, sure." Lin Yi nodded. N. If Guan Xian said the child was Lin Yi's, she wouldn't feel any pressure at all. To her, it was just a matter of time. And it wasn't a big deal if she said it earlier. "It's getting late, I'll go back first. I still have to go to Southeast Asia tomorrow. If your father forces you to meet him, you better delay it until I come back. I can help you with the plan." Lin Yi said, and okay." Guan Xian nodded happily. Lin Yi said goodbye to Boss Bai's house and returned to his villa. Gooden and Yuan had already gone to the guest room to rest, and Lin Yi smiled when he saw Xinyan on the bed. It seemed that Wang Xinyan had been staying in her room all this time. Lin Yi didn't dare rely on Wang Xinyan to train right now, but being with her every day was still an enjoyable experience. If he could raise Wang Xinyan's strength to become a cultivator, there wouldn't be so many hidden dangers. He didn't know if Aunt Qing could find the mantra. Lin Yi laid down beside Xinyan, starting to train quietly. However, good times were always short-lived. In the blink of an eye, the sky was bright and a new day had arrived. Lin Yi got up and went to the kitchen to cook. He had developed the habit of waking up early to cook. However, when Lin Yi came to the kitchen, he was surprised to find that Yuan got up earlier than him. Yuan, you're the guest. Why don't you sleep a little longer? Just leave breakfast to me." Lin Yi said, I'm used to it at home. Every day when I wake up at this time, Zhou Jiaming will go hunting in the mountains. Yuan smiled and said, It's okay. Leave it to me. All right then. Lin Yi didn't force it. He knew that Yuan wanted to do her part, and he couldn't reject her anymore. Yuan's cooking skills were not bad. She wasn't as good as Lin Yi, but it was still not bad. It seemed like Gooden was quite lucky. After the meal, Lin Yi said goodbye to Xinyan and went to Donghai Airport with Gooden and Yuan. Lin Yi had already asked Han Xiaopa to book the plane tickets. The flight was silent, and Lin Yi slept on the plane. Gooden and Yuan, on the other hand, were very excited. It was their first time on a plane, and they were very excited as they looked at the clouds outside the window. After arriving in Southeast Asia, Lin Yi didn't hide his whereabouts. He checked into a hotel called Yumiao Hotel. In the hotel lobby, Lin Yi called Kun Siyuan. Lin Yi, you're here. Kun Siyuan asked. Yes, I'm in the lobby of this Yumiao Hotel. Help me get 2 rooms. I don't have money. Lin Yi said. Kun Siyuan was speechless, but in order to find Lin Yi at any time, he didn't care about the money. He said to Lin Yi, Give the phone to their manager. I'll talk to them. Lin Yi nodded and said to the manager, Answer the phone. The manager was a bit confused, but he still picked up the phone. When he heard the voice, his face changed, and he nodded. After he finished the call, he said respectfully to Lin Yi, Mr. Lin, the room card is ready. This way, please. Although Lin Yi was an enemy, Kun Siyuan still had to treat him well before he went to kill Lin Yi. This was to prevent Lin Yi from running away. Anyway, in his eyes, Lin Yi was already a dead man. Those criminals still had to eat a full meal before they were executed. So Kun Siyuan wanted Lin Yi to be more comfortable before he died. After hanging up the phone, Kun Siyuan looked for Pu Huati's master, the current deputy sect leader of Right Miao sect, Pu Nimei. Pu Nimei was a bit of a patriarchal person. He required his sect and disciples to have the same surname as him, but he was also very protective. Now that Pu Huati was killed, he wanted revenge the most. Deputy sect leader Pu, Lin Yi is here. We can prepare to take action. Kun Siyuan said to Pu Nimei, Good. With you and me working together, Lin Yi will definitely die. Pu Nimei said, I'm good at demonic arts, and I've already mastered it. Sect leader, you're good at attacking. We'll attack and defend, just like the Vajra dual evils of the past, invincible. That's right, this Lin Yi is very powerful. To be able to kill Pu Huati, he's not a good person. You and I have to be careful. After we get there, you try your best to hold back Lin Yi and let him attack you. You just have to defend, and I'm good at attacking. I'll sneak attack Lin Yi. Kun Siyuan began to assign tactics. Although this demonic art was learned by Kun Siyuan from the Miao tribe's high priest, he did not cultivate it to mastery. Instead, he let his deputy sect leader cultivate it. He also cultivated an attack technique. Although it could not be said to be very powerful, it was a modified version of the Miao village's goo poison called Divine Strength Goo. Therefore, his attack power was also quite strong. Then, when are we going to take action? Pu Nimei could not bear it anymore. He did not want to wait even a moment longer. He only wanted revenge. To avenge Pu Huati. Tonight, Lin Yi is now staying at our Young Sprout Hotel. He can't run away. Kun Siyuan said, then told Pu Nimei about Lin Yi's free stay. This Lin Yi is really funny. He's about to die, yet he still wants to save this little money. Chapter 3456. There will be 2 updates today. The second one will be later. So please come back tomorrow morning. The fishman had to go out for a while before he could continue writing. Asking for votes. Happy Dragon Boat Festival. N. Not bad. Kun Siyuan thought. If Pu Huati wasn't Pu Nimei's disciple and was just a normal disciple, Then if Lin Yi could really take out enough conditions, it wouldn't be impossible. After settling you, Yuan and Gooden down. Lin Yi called Gooden to his room alone. He wanted to tell him about Kuan Si Yuan, but Yuan didn't want to be part of it. It was better not to tell her about the battles of the cultivation world. "Boss, what's up?" Gooden asked after entering the room. He could vaguely feel that Lin Yi had something to do in Southeast Asia, but Lin Yi didn't say anything, so he didn't ask. "And it's like this. My classmate was captured by the Right Miao sect." Lin Yi said and told him about Bai Weitaw, as well as his conflict with Pu Huati. "Lin Yi, boss, what's the difference between this Pu Huati and Fighterly? If it was me, I'd kill him with one punch too." Gooden was infuriated that Fighterly had tried to take Yuan by force, and Gooden was furious. "At night he might come to me. Don't be impulsive then, find a chance and use underhanded methods, understand? With your current stamina, you can only use it 3 times, so don't act rashly. Save as much as you can, understand?" Lin Yi told Gooden. "Don't worry, boss, I understand." Gooden nodded. "I won't do anything rashly. I still want to play with Yuan. If I get sick, I'll have to go back directly." Lin Yi nodded and started talking about other things. Yuan knew that Gooden finally got to see Lin Yi, so he must have something to say, so she went to bed first. Nightfall. Just as Lin Yi had predicted, Kuan Si Yuan brought Pu Nime to the Seedling Hotel. With Pu Nime's impatient character, she could not wait any longer. "They're here." Lin Yi's face twitched as he said to Gooden. Lin Yi's strong mental perception allowed him to sense Kuan Si Yuan and Pu Nime's approach. Although he could not be sure that one of them was Kuan Si Yuan, Lin Yi could clearly sense that they were not friendly. "Boss, I'm ready. Isn't it just a sneak attack?" Gooden had learned to be more cunning recently. He had no choice. He was always bullied by Yuan, so he had to learn to be smarter. Lin Yi nodded and sat quietly on the sofa, waiting. Sure enough, not long after, there was a hurried knock on the door. "You should have room cards for your own hotels, right? Open the door yourself. I'm quite tired," Lin Yi said indifferently. And Kuan Si Yuan was stunned. He did not expect Lin Yi to say that. He knocked on the door out of politeness. He did not expect Lin Yi to be so shameless, even though he was about to die. He was furious and really wanted to kick the door to pieces. But after thinking about it, this hotel was his. He would have to pay to repair it if he broke it. Kuan Si Yuan could only endure it. However, when he and Pu Nime went upstairs, they did not consider this problem at all. They did not have room cards. He was the leader of the Right Seedling sect. He could not possibly walk around with a room card. That was unrealistic. "I did not bring my room card." "Open it," Kuan Si Yuan said, suppressing his anger. "Then do it yourself. You're a practitioner anyway. It'll be a piece of cake for you." Lin Yi said indifferently. "You. Very good." Kuan Si Yuan took a deep breath. He knew that Lin Yi must have done it on purpose to play with him. But even if he knew, he could not do anything about it. He could only think of a way to take revenge on Lin Yi in a more ruthless manner. Pu Nime was a little anxious. She said to Kuan Si Yuan, "Leader Kuan, why don't we break in? It's just a door. Breaking in is a small matter, but this is a 5-star hotel. If other guests see us and some meddlesome guests take photos and post them on the internet, our hotel's reputation will be ruined." Kuan Si Yuan waved his hand and said, "Forget it. Let the waiter send the key up." Pu Nime felt that Kuan Si Yuan was right. After all, this was the foundation of their sect's survival. Although the sect focused on cultivation, it was impossible to do without money in this era. They could not rob houses like in ancient times, right? That was not realistic at all. They could only rely on their own sex advantages to earn money. Soon, the waiter sent the universal room card over. This was the room card used by the waiter to clean the room. Kuan Si Yuan opened the door and strode in. When he saw Lin Yi casually sitting on the sofa and chatting with someone, he was a little annoyed. However, he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This Lin Yi. Did he really think that coming here was a holiday? Kun Siyuan heard from the front desk that Lin Yi didn't come alone but brought a couple. It seemed that they were here to travel with friends. This guy was really brave. Who knew that he would die here? Or did he have the confidence to convince him to exchange for his life? You are Lin Yi? Kun Siyuan locked his eyes on Lin Yi because Gooden was too ordinary. He was just a village boy, simple and honest. He didn't have much of an aura. One look and you could tell that he had a silly but strong physique. Master Kun Siyuan, right? Lin Yi looked at Kun Siyuan and said faintly, I didn't think that you would have the guts to show your face. I didn't think that you would dare to invite me over. I really don't know what to say about you. What do you mean? Kun Siyuan was slightly taken aback. Let me introduce myself. My name is Lin Yi. I work for the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Currently, the deputy director of the bureau is my girlfriend. Kun Siyuan, you are our wanted criminal. If you know what's good for you, come back with me. Otherwise, I will make a move to arrest you, Lin Yi said. You are from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Kun Siyuan was taken aback. He didn't think that Lin Yi's identity would be so troublesome. If he knew earlier, he wouldn't have let Lin Yi come over so hastily. After all, it wasn't a good thing to be targeted by the Supernatural Investigation Bureau again. However, things had come to this point. He couldn't back down. The only way to keep Lin Yi here was to prevent some information from being leaked. He sneered and said, Even if you are from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, so what? You can't interfere with our Southeast Asian affairs. Deputy Master Pu, you can avenge your disciple, Pu Huiti. Lin Yi, come, let's fight. Pu Nimei stood up according to the plan and said to Lin, You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.